Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 118. My name is John Morgan. Cold Coffee is with me in Las Vegas.
Where?
We are here at Boomers. Boomers for a Thirsty Thursday, doing them 2-for-1 frosty beverages, along with the coach, Angelo Reyes, noted boxing trainer, part of the Freddie Roach lineage. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. I'm always happy to see Papa Bear come off of his American Airlines
Papa Bear
from L.A.
It's because I'm burly. I'm burly like a man. Could be because of the hairy chest. I haven't shaved. I like to manscape my chest. Agent H likes it when I'm smooth.
Okay.
She says when I go through the pool and I swim, I'm very graceful. I think it's because my
like
typical,
a bear.
like a polar bear, right? They look all graceful in there.
I'm thinking more like a seal or a whale.
A seal or a whale.
But she says I'm very graceful. I think it's because she's usually drinking and just loves me. But I think I'm quite graceful. But I think it's because my peoples, we're not very hairy.
Right.
And so I glide through.
That's the quarter Filipino.
That's the quarter Filipino in me. You know. But but I am kind of burly-ish these days, so I'll let the Papa Bear slide.
That's right.
I like it.
He's my Filipino brother, so he's got to let the Papa Bear slide.
There you go. It seems like you guys are doing. I gotta say, I'm just gonna throw it out the way. I'm a little depressed. I got literally a text message as I was driving here to Boomers, as we do on a Thursday, where you should be.
That's
getting
right.
You some cheap frosty beverages. That kind of it threw me for a loop. I'm kind of rattled right now, man. My kid, he turned 5 in May, and we had to go to his 5-year checkup and just things you do, just make sure the wellness check. Yep. And he's got a birthmark on his chin, and the doctor was like, "Hey, go get that checked out just to make sure." My wife has a history of cancer in her family, so she's like, "You know what? Go check that out. Just probably nothing. Just go check it out." So we took him to the dermatologist yesterday. Doctor took a look at it. Cute doctor, by the way, too. Sexy little blonde girl, dude. Cute doctor.
I was like, what's his name?
That's a quarter Filipino I'm talking to.
So she checks it out. She said, "Listen, it's probably good. Everything looks good on it, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to monitor it. We'll have you back in 3 months. We'll remeasure it. We'll relook at it. We'll see if anything's changed. At that point, you guys can make a decision. Either just let it go. You can remove it if you want." She said, I wouldn't remove it right now. It doesn't really make sense. But, it might be something you want to do. A little surgery can do that. But we'll see. And so, we left. No big deal. So, all right, cool. We'll be back in 3 months, and we'll go from there. I get a text from my wife literally as I'm driving here tonight. It says, "I was driving to the playground, and Eli asked me all of a sudden, when are they removing his birthmark? I said, we don't know if they have to, and then he told me that he wants them to remove it. I asked him why, and he said, because kids talk about it." And he was sad when he said it.
Wow.
It's not even that big.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a big –
Broke my heart, dude.
No, I want to touch on this subject because you're a papa just like I'm a papa.
Broke my heart.
And, my son, he was born with a congenital heart defect, tricuspid atresia, hypoplastic right ventricle.
I didn't know that.
We went through it all, 9 open heart surgeries, and, he flatlined, and he went the whole bit. And right now he's 13 years old, looks great, but I do feel like there's a lot of these kind of like cyberbullying or bullying that happens. And when you already have a kid, like here you are, you have your 5-year-old, we're praying and hoping everything's fine with little Eli.
Sure be, yeah.
But he's got something there visible,
right? And
kids may, say whatever they say, and he's only 5. Right. Well, imagine if you already know in your head that you're a certain, you already know.
Right.
The reason why I can't play for a basketball team is because blank, and the reason why I can't go to a football team is because blank. And then somebody says something that may not seem that harsh when we were growing up,
right?
But then they say it to you now.
Sucks,
dude,
man.
And that's why, I don't know if you guys watch Netflix at all, but there's that movie that came out, the 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, I don't know if I can watch that.
Oh, dude, you should watch it. You should watch it.
My wife said it's awesome, but
no. And here's the reason why.
I
heard about it.
Teen suicide.
Okay, I don't want to be a spoiler. I'm not going to do a spoiler thing here, but what I liked about watching the whole thing is it shows you that certain characters, like when we were growing up, we thought the cool kid was cool, but we didn't really know what his backstory is.
Right.
And we thought the kid that's not so cool, we didn't know what their backstory is. They kind of show that whole thing.
That what, everybody's got problems,
Yeah,
basically?
everybody has problems.
Oh, yeah.
And here's the thing. Suicide's not the way. It's just not the way. It's like no matter how bad your problem is, you should talk it out. And it is harder,
I don't
John.
want to start talking about suicide, man.
You
Good
know,
Lord. Got me even worse over here, man.
I'm just saying. You know,
I just felt bad for my son being sad,
Yeah.
man.
I don't watch that sort of stuff. I mean, I've heard it had great reviews, stuff like that. I guess maybe it's just me. Like, I'll fucking watch sci-fi and like cooking channels and all that shit all day long. Because when I watch TV, I want to turn my brain off. Unless there's a documentary or something that I really want to. So a lot of these shows that are out there, when I hear they're great, but they talk about these subjects that are very important subject matter. I'm not trying to, discount that, but I'm just like, I don't want to fucking watch that in my free time. I'd rather watch some fucking shit exploding on the scene or sitting there and just turn my brain
I was telling
off.
you to watch Glow, which is also
well, like
on
Netflix. That's more my style than something that's gonna like make me want to just like
no, but just
cry.
quickly, you're a dad. I relate. I understand.
It just shook me, man. The thought of my kid being sad and like being 5 years old and second guessing himself because he's got a birthmark.
Yeah.
And you're phrasing it wrong though. You gotta. He has to be telling these kids it's a beauty mark. It's been a beauty mark. Like when people look at who was the super hot model that was in like the 90s.
Oh,
and
no.
2000s.
Cindy Crawford.
Cindy Crawford.
Don't nobody call that a birthmark.
Right.
Well,
They call it a fucking beauty mark, and it's the same damn thing.
I think they were
like
looking
it.
at other lumps in her body.
Well, they were, but her birthmark.
But I'll say this
her
about
chest
Eli, too.
birthmarks.
This is why right now, John, you're a good dad. We should get him into martial arts.
Oh, no,
Martial
definitely.
arts is a great thing for children.
We're about to start it, man. We're about
Okay.
to actually we're gonna do some gymnastics.
Okay.
Just to build that core strength, to build that body awareness and that sort of thing. But definitely, I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to start out with.
Yeah. I would actually even suggest that let him do because I just had another friend of mine ask me this. He said, "Hey, Angelo, my son's 5. I want to get him into MMA eventually. What should a good starting base is?"
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, okay, first of all, if you're into karate, definitely put him in a karate school. Karate schools are great. But if you want to get him into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the only thing I'll suggest is as you're putting him into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, put him also in a Taekwondo class.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
do some
then
striking
that
as well.
way he understands the distance range on one side and distance range on the other side.
Yeah.
And both are pretty disciplined.
The only thing I've taught him right now is he does do ones and twos with me, and I make sure that he knows, and I make sure he knows that if anybody ever picks on him, just punch somebody right in the nose, just
absolutely.
right in the nose.
Yes, I'm one of those
Straight in the
dads.
nose.
I'm one of those dads. It's like hit him,
right in the nose. Dude.
Get in a fight. You got in a fight. Come on, you got in a fight when
Never.
you were growing up, right?
I've never gotten a fight.
Cold coffee.
Dude, I've seen him almost in fights in some media rooms, man. What are you talking about?
Oh.
All right, let's talk about cold coffee. You flew back from Los Angeles. It's been a long day for you already, man. I know you had just like me, man. You had the early wake-up call, 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. So it's been a long day, but it's the fun part now is we're having a couple frosty beverages and sitting back. But
fun part would be home sleeping.
No,
come on.
This is the fun part. You went to L.A. for the day. You flew out there for the day and back.
I did.
International Fight Week Media Day. They started things out in Los Angeles just because there's so many media outlets out there. They started the tour a little bit early. I think, with the holiday, they lose a little bit of media stuff next week. So decided to get things started this week. But
I'll show you a picture.
Give me the
okay.
give us the idea.
I should have tweeted. I should have tweeted.
Great
that.
radio here as we show up.
But if you can imagine this, right? No, I'm
Okay.
seeing all these local guys come out like you expect that you're going to see in California, and I expected to see, the MMA Weekly. I was expecting to see MMA Fighting. Both of that were there. Adam Hill was there from Review Journal.
Vegas, sure.
There was another Review Journal person out there, not Fang, some other dude that I'd seen at the events. I didn't realize he was a Review Journal. I was like, oh, who are you with? Because he was like. Because I was actually talking about how,
Did you look
man,
at
I
him
didn't
and
want to
go-
do that drive from Vegas, so I took a flight, And he's like, that drive sucks. I was like, so where'd you come in from? He's like, Vegas. Drove in. I'm with the Review Journal. I was like, well, I mean, the drive's fine. So there were people there that were there to do interviews, but when I walked in, they had lunch in a separate room, so we were kind of working out of that particular room.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's some wraps and salad or something like that,
Okay.
just something. I mean, if it's a lunch at lunchtime, usually the UFC is pretty good. They'll supply some sort of food.
Okay.
I mean, if you're coming into their place during lunch hours, usually they'll put some sort of food out. So they had, some salads. a few different wraps. Some were good, some were but it's free. So, you got to take it for that. But we're in the one room where the food was and where it was sort of a staging area while they finished preparing the other room. And I had seen some people go into the other room, and I'm thinking, like, oh, shit, they're setting up tripods. I always like to set my shit up. I'm like, let me go set my tripod up. Let me pick who I'm going to go first. Immediately in my head, already playing in, I was thinking I'm going to get Gaeji, get Johnson. Everybody's going to go towards the main events. On the other ones, I was like, we'll do this. I walk in there.
That's pro tip right there. You start at the other side of the room and filter back.
That's
right.
Some pro
That's
shit.
That's pro tip.
Yeah.
I get in there, and the first thing I see is everybody, all the other local media, whatever, had lined up their cameras in a row, already prepared for the face-offs.
Oh, wow.
After it. So when I set up for Gaeji,
Johnson?
No, for Johnson was Dog, Dave Mandel.
Oh, Dave Mandel, right?
I'm fucking tired. I'm blanking out. He sets up there, and he comes back over, and we're sort of scanning the room, and it's like,
is nobody going to
go
do interviews?
Are they not going to fucking interview these people? It's like they literally, half of them were there just for the face-offs, or they got B-roll of the event and didn't interview half the people.
That's crazy.
So there were still maybe 10 sets of people maybe going around. There were 40 were had said they were going to be there. They had 40 on the list. I don't know if all 40 showed up. But, all those dudes coming in there, swinging those big-ass cameras, like every place we go, the big local media likes to swing, they're swinging big dicks. They're like, look at my camera. I'm going to come get in here, and I'm going to tape shit. Okay. But when they get there, they had no fucking desire or plan to actually interview the fighters. They're there. Oh, there's an event coming on. All right, so they got to do their due diligence. They're going to show up. Oh, look, a UFC event came on. They're looking for a 30-second blip to put on the screen, and half the time it's probably just going to be the anchor talking.
Right.
It's never even going to. You're not even going to hear any sound on tape for
right.
it. So here we are, and the few of us that are kind of in fighting comes in, we all sort of look at each other like, "Are you serious? Is anybody even going to report?"
I was wondering because I saw your face-off footage and you were a little off to the side, and it wasn't bad. But me and you were usually the first ones there. We get that center spot.
That's the thing. Well, that was another difference too, of the fact of being just solo. Wasn't able to kind of scope it out. But here's the scene, and you can kind of describe it a little bit.
That's crazy. Just as you said, man. There's just people all set up, not even bothered about the interviews.
I'm sitting from this image. I'm sitting at where Gaeji is, and across the way, exactly all the way over there is where Michael Johnson was. And then next to Johnson was Fabricio Verdum, and on his left was Yoel Romero, then Amanda Nunes. Oddly enough, and it's funny because I love it how they'll always lean to us. I'm like, all right, well, there's some odd numbers of fighters. How should we put the fighters? They were initially going to put Amanda Nunes and Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko on the stage, but then that would put 3 and 3 on the floor.
Right.
And then the backdrops are so big they were afraid that it would look weird. And then there was the unicorn in the room, the Travis Brown. They're like, well, what do we do with Travis?
Because his opponent,
because he's an odd man out. So they kind of went when I was like, oh, well, it makes sense. Yeah, if you got the big banners, because she's like, how about if I just put 4 in front of the banners, to make the banners look good? I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. They're even on the floor. So I wasn't even thinking they're going to use the stage. They did use the stage. They put Travis Brown
all by
himself
in the stage?
On the stage, just as a place where people could interview him.
So
we're
6'7" guy is already tall enough anyway, and then you're elevating him on top of that.
But what was funny is that he's walking in the room thinking, whatever, and there's a whole row of people lined up, almost like pointing at him. So I think he was thinking, like, what is going on here? And eventually people broke out and did the things, and some of the people got a little wise to what is. I think some just didn't know what the deal was because you saw some people peeled off and actually did some interviews. But, a lot of times the local guys will come in there, they'll set up in the middle, they face towards a face-off, and everybody assumes, okay, that must be the order of what we're doing. Huh. Those of us that do this day in, day out know that
Or they read the email.
Or read the schedule.
That has the schedule on it.
That says, hey, interviews, and then we're going to do the face-off. So, but it's still, it was pretty crazy, pretty hectic.
Yeah, you're rolling solo, which is a lot
rolling
tougher,
solo
man.
Stuff, and then I had, my notepad. I'm trying to hold in to trying to jot my memory of what what I was going to ask, and and then trying to hold the mic, and then trying to do the thing, and carrying shit around. It was a little frustrating and a little stressful.
But you got it done. Now you got the frosty beverage. What was the highlights, man? Michael Johnson, Justin Gaethje.
Michael Johnson, Gaethje.
They seem to be the one that at least face-off wise, they kind of stole it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the face-offs was pretty straightforward. I mean I think for the most part everybody was very cordial. Shook hands. In fact,
even Nunes and Shevchenko weren't.
Yeah, they weren't really chirping at each other. I mean, they gave each other the eye that you would expect.
See,
two people going in there. But I mean, but that was what you would expect. You expect them to kind of look in each other and know that shit's getting close. Like we're really, really close to it. But there was none of that chirping that you saw at that presser. Like, which kind of caught me off guard. I think it caught everybody off guard how much shit talking that happened between them at the thing. But at this
it was almost off-putting how much, because you had the Michael Chiesa, Kevin Lee, you had those two going at it. You had Gaethje and Johnson got into it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's that thing where, it's the Conor McGregor effect. There's no question about it. I mean, he's done such a great job in those big press conferences where there's 20 people on stage and he gets all the headlines.
Yeah.
I think now everybody, when they're in that situation, feels like they got to get something going so they can. And it worked for Kesta and Lee last week, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody.
Yeah,
that's all anybody was talking about,
That's true.
I guess I should say who was on the other side, because there's one person I'm forgetting. So it was Justin Gaethje next to the door. Next to Gaethje was the ever-energetic Alistair Overeem. Then who was...
He's a heavyweight.
Robert Whittaker.
And then Robert Whittaker, and then and then Valentina Shevchenko.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whittaker was cool. Everybody was
Whittaker.
in good sorts.
I'm picking him, actually.
Yeah, like I said, the only person that kind of was just weird to me was Alistair. I was following Karen Bryant, and he gave Karen an outstanding interview. He was like really, really energetic. Was good, they hugged it out afterwards, and it was kind of fun. And then I walked up and couldn't get the fucker to like eye contact, half the time. And I'm just like, oh, Alistair, please work with me here.
He's a little standoffish.
So yeah, he was, and I was.
Maybe if you would have called him Papa Bear. Hey, Papa Bear.
I'm like, hey, big boy. He would have fucking chucked me. But it was good. It was interesting. But yeah, it was anytime running solo on some of those things, it gets a little stressful. And and I'll be first to.
Can I ask you, was there any with these local reporters, and they don't know the industry as well as you guys. You guys are the experts of the industry. But did anybody ask like some kind of question to and Amanda Nunes like?
For the most part, everybody was doing solo. So
yeah, it's all going simultaneously.
There was a couple.
There
was a couple people that sort of scrummed up on some, but that was like some people that weren't really trying to probably get solo things, or they weren't on camera. So, but everybody that was doing an on camera pretty much had one-on-one times with everybody. So with me carrying my stuff around, if I wasn't right behind you, I have no clue what anybody was talking about.
Yeah, it's tough in those.
I mean, it's.
Well, now being there, were you excited about the fights? I mean, like, did it get you hyped up about the fights, or?
Dude, no. Well, I'm in a total different mindset at that point. I was more worried about my questions, who I was going to go to next, who was open. That I mean, you get excited for the fights, and when you, if anything else, when somebody gets animated and they give good stuff, then I'll get glimpses and I'll think about the fights, But a lot of times, all I'm thinking this is very like unsexy or whatever, but it's just like how much time do I have left before we have to get to the face-offs? When do I need to fit this in and break this down so I can get set up for the next thing? So you're doing the things and you're asking the questions, and I was sweating my balls off. It was hot in this room.
It's the glamorous life.
Oh yeah,
it's the glamorous life.
It's like so sexy, what we do. But no, it was
nothing to report.
Like the Gaeji and Johnson, hearing them kind of chirp a little bit, got excited for that, but Yoel was just typical Yoel,
praise Jesus.
See, this is where I think you got MMA could do a little bit more with letting coaches like Robert Guerrero's dad or Danny Garcia's dad kind of come in and chirp a little bit.
I mean, they're available. It's it's not like, I mean, the UFC doesn't make them available, but because they don't have a contract to them. But
because if you're talking about some of the times when it happens at boxing pressers,
dude, it happens. These guys,
I mean, but it overshadows. No, it overshadows the fighters. It doesn't make me more interested in the fight, because all I look at, I'm like, they got one hothead coach talking to another hothead coach. And then, if anything, maybe it'll help amp up the fighters. But me watching it, I just get annoyed with it. I'm like, what is this dude even talking? But I think that's what boxing's done. It's done it forever.
It fun. The last time I'm about to put it out on my Instagram. The last time I remember seeing Floyd Mayweather Sr., he was talking about fighting either Kavanaugh or the other person, and he actually like was vocal.
I thought
about
Conor
it.
was fighting Mayweather.
Yeah, no, it was something
Isn't
like that.
Conor fighting Mayweather
I'm about to
Senior?
put it on my Instagram. Reyes boxing Instagram. I'm about to put it out. But they asked him, and then Floyd Senior started going over all the stuff about and this was before the Conor fight was made. And he was like, I'm gonna let my son know to make sure he takes that fight. And you know what? And if they want to, I'm more than happy to fight one of the coaches. And the reporter was like saying, this is the coach's name. And then Floyd Mayweather Sr. was like, who's that guy? And he's like, it doesn't matter. I'll fight whoever the coach is. And
Kavanaugh would whip his ass.
In a boxing match, though?
Yes. And you and
I might have to talk about this a little bit more.
Kavanaugh would whip his ass.
Senior can. You know what? I gotta bring you into the Mayweather gym so you can watch Senior work a little bit, so you can see that his.
I don't even need to.
All right.
Kavanaugh would whip his ass.
Kavanaugh will definitely choke him out or footlock him.
Oh, definitely. All right. Well, listen, I'm home after 5 weeks on the road, so it feels good to be here. Good to be back at Boomers on Thursday. I just want to say, it's kind of funny. My flight home, I ended up leaving Oklahoma City like 5 o'clock in the morning, connecting through Dallas, staying loyal to American Airlines, being a little bit of a mileage whore. But I worked the whole night. I did a little and a half episode, so it was, basically went straight to the airport, hadn't slept yet. I do my fight day routine is basically I stay up as late as I can the night before, and then fight day I basically pack my bags already. And then I close the curtains so that it's pitch black in my room. I put the Do Not Disturb sign on, put my phone on mute, and I sleep until as late as I can because basically I want to be like just kind of waking up when I get to the arena because it's about 8 hours at the arena. Then you got to come home and process video. I mean, you're talking about 12, 13, 14-hour workday. So that's basically what I've done. I woke up at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, worked, went to the airport, loaded up, got upgraded, sitting in first class, 5 a.m. in the morning. We're sitting there about to take off. It's a 29-minute flight from Oklahoma City to Dallas.
First class.
The lady's like, can I get you something to drink? And I'm like, I'll take a Woodford and Ginger, please. The look of judgment on this woman's face at 5 o'clock in the morning as I order my cocktail.
You alcoholic.
Oh, man. Can I just tell you, it was like I almost second-guessed myself. Like I almost thought maybe I shouldn't. And then it kind of pissed me off, so I was just like drinking them as fast as I could.
Make it a double, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty funny, but the look of judgment was bad. But, this whole week since we've been back from Oklahoma City, the Kesta-Lee conversation just continues to go on, man. It's been controversy. Everybody we want to talk to about it. And we did see Michael Chiesa did file an official appeal today.
Really?
He said he was going to do it.
Okay.
He did it. And his language in the appeal, first of all, it's very well written, but it's strong. And it attacks Mario Yamasaki. And listen to this. This is – he's just throwing it out there.
Is that public information?
It is public information.
Wow.
While I understand that mixed martial arts referees have a very difficult job, licensed combatants like me enter in combative contests with the understanding that referees will follow the highest standard of conduct. Mario Yamasaki, the referee in this contest, has a long history of failing to meet the standards officials are held to. For example, at UFC 142, Mr. Yamasaki improperly disqualified Eric Silva in a contest against Carlo Prater. Recently, at UFC Fight Night 105, Mr. Yamasaki publicly said he had no excuses for his late stoppage in the main event bout between Travis Brown and Derek Lewis.
I was there for that one.
I mean, he's calling him out, so it's a very well written. The other thing too is that, of course, we know what the complaint is that it was stopped too early. There was one thing that hasn't been talked about that much, and I did kind of notice as the fight was playing out, but the 12 what I thought were 12 to 6 elbows on the back. When Kevin Lee first got to the back, he threw a couple elbows. They looked like 12 to 6 elbows. Danny Rubenstein, who is a good friend of ours, and of course Michael Chies's manager as well, he was actually texting me. He was the one that alerted me that the appeal had been filed, and he actually said if Yamasaki calls those elbows illegal, he loses the position, and Mike doesn't have to adjust his body, which allowed Kevin to get the rear naked choke. I'm like, that is a very kind of fair argument there. The elbows did look 12 to 6 to me, so I almost like that argument, but because I said it on Fight Night, and I'm still going back and forth. I still think Mike went limp just for like a fraction of a second. I think Mario stepped in right when he saw it. So I think it's just hard to say, and I've sat through enough of these appeals at commissions to know that they're just going to say the referee made a judgment. We don't question the referee's judgments, so your appeal's thrown out. So I know that's not going to win. But the idea that the referee missed a foul that should have been called that would have led to
So
a
that's what
position
they're
change.
saying, is
Well,
that
they
you
said
missed the
both.
foul.
They contended
Okay.
both. But I kind of like that argument a little bit better
Yeah.
to say
That's
you
a
missed
better
the
argument.
12 to 6 elbows,
That's a
and
better
because you
argument.
missed the foul, I got submitted.
Right.
There's so many times refs miss fouls.
Okay,
you know,
let-
I can't see them going back and using the thing about, oh well, you know, what if he missed a foul the other way earlier? Does that cancel out the missed fouls? I mean, like,
Right.
missed fouls happen and refs miss them, but you know, the main one that finishes and whatever happens there, that's the one that needs to be addressed, because that's the one that was called. There was a decision made. All they're going to do is they rule on a decision. They can't rule on something that wasn't called. You know, there's nothing there to rule on. I mean, you can't say yay or nay on something that doesn't exist. The thing with what I saw on the mic, I didn't so much see him go limp, but there was a moment where the hand sort of dropped, and it was this moment where he kind of, I don't know if he went into his head thinking like, oh, okay, I want to weather this right now and see what I'm going to do, but it was the lack of trying a defense at that point, which made you think that if he would have let it go for maybe just 2 more seconds, he either would have needed to put his hands back on and start attacking the hands again, or he would have went out. And the fact that we didn't get to that, you know, I can see why he's upset that he didn't go out. But the fact is, he went from attacking the hands, trying to pull him down, to not attacking it, and then sort of resolving that, hey, I'm right here. I'm not really defending, but I'm gonna tough it out. I'm gonna tough it out. And he stopped it. And I think Mario interpreted that as, okay, here's the moment right when he's going out, because he's not actively defending it. His hands kind of went a little stiff, and just kind of like at that moment. And at that point, the fighter's not defending himself. But you know, could it have went another second or two?
It should have.
It should
Can I
have.
ask you, was Yamasaki the referee for Justin Kish, Felice Herrig, or no?
No.
Okay, because they let that go pretty effing
Oh, they
long.
let that go for a while. Yeah, they let that go for a
They
while.
let it go past when the
Well, that's
shit
fine.
hit the fan.
So interesting. We'll see what the update. We'll see what the
Okay.
update is. But I kind of like that. So we got back from that, and then I'm thinking, Cold Coffee, did we do anything exciting this week? I mean,
Really,
after
dude? You weren't excited to be on the Cage Sider show
after we got
with
home.
with us?
Oh,
that
that's
wasn't
right. You're on the
exciting for
Cage
you?
Sider show.
That is right.
Come on!
That was definitely the highlight of it. That was definitely
Wasn't
the
that
highlight of
fun?
it.
Did
That
you
was-
have a good time?
That was definitely the highlight of the week. And then
I don't know why I do like mic checks with him before we start,
I
because
know.
he never stays within.
That's because he didn't
Just
mention
get
the Cage
louder.
Siders.
Oh,
dude.
I should have. All right, next time I do a sound check, I'm like, hey, Cage Siders. You're like,
Well, that was definitely the highlight of the week. But
Okay.
Cage Siders.
I guess a close second, maybe not even a close second, really a distant second,
Okay,
was
thank you.
we finally got our sit down with Dana White that we've been working on for
6
months. 6 months. He's canceled
That was
on
awesome,
us.
by the way.
Canceled
That was
on us
awesome.
3 times, and we did get it. So I want to say before we get to it, because we're gonna play it. Showing up at the office, it was the first time we've really seen the office,
Okay.
the new headquarters, in full swing. We've been there a couple times. We've been there for the grand opening. I mean, we've been there. We've been there several times.
yeah.
But this was the first time we've kind of been back since, I guess, since the opening was held, since the fighters got to see it. And
well, first time since Performance Institute's been in full swing.
very much
Because
so.
it wasn't in full swing. We've been there when the office has been running on its full thing, but this was the first time when it's like, hey, it's fair game. The Performance Institute's there. You could do your thing. And this is what we saw.
Yeah,
because
I
of
mean, we had a 1 o'clock interview with Dana White. We showed up, but we both said we'll get there at noon just to make sure we had plenty of time to get set up.
So, of course, we got there early.
We both ended up
Very
getting there at
professional,
11:45.
very professional.
But yeah, there had to be, the cafeteria is kind of the common meeting area where everybody gets together.
It's
basically.
a huge cafeteria.
Massive.
I mean, it's massive. I mean, there's probably, besides
Can
the
I
booths.
ask you, did they give you the media food?
No. We were just there on our own. Yeah.
No. This wasn't
not
like
a
a media
media
event. This was just particularly that we had set up, and
So
it
Chef
was
Lou
so long.
couldn't even hook you up, man.
Well, we ended up
Come
getting
on.
some food while
we
we
did
were there.
end up
But,
getting some
Okay,
food
but
there.
it was crazy because there had to be at least a dozen fighters in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably
Verdun
about
was
100,
there.
about 100
Yeah, Amanda
people in
Nunes
the
was
cafeteria
there.
at that time. There was probably about 100, and probably
Uriah
a fourth or fifth
Hall,
of them
Kelvin
were
Gastelum.
fighters. Rafael Cordero
Yeah, it was
and
crazy
like
to see
other
how many
coaches
people
were there.
It was crazy to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like people are really utilizing the facility. So
It was neat. I mean,
Do you
everywhere
guys
you
like
look, there was
can
a
I ask you,
fighter.
do you like that? Because for us, like in a boxing world, that'd be really weird to be eating in the same cafeteria.
Well, I mean, if you have a fight scheduled,
I was
that's
gonna say none of
different.
these. I mean,
These
more
aren't people in the same
they're
division.
not-
okay.
They weren't people. Yeah.
And it's not like they got to fight next week. I mean, but I don't think maybe somebody, if they were smart, I could see where.
I mean,
but
Verdum was there, but it wasn't like Overeem was there. But honestly, I mean, yeah, in MMA, you see it all the time. Everybody stays in the same hotel. And back in the old days, when it was tiny, like we're staying in some shitholes, and people are eating together. And hell, man, when I went and did that Venator event, which was the Italian company, it was really cool, man. Instead of like giving people a per diem, they actually had like a buffet set up, like
just made a big old bowl of pasta,
big old buffet at the hotel, and like so literally, all throughout the day, people were just eating in the same common area because they didn't have a per diem where they could go somewhere else and spend their money. They were getting their free food there at the hotel, and it was cool, man. I mean, yeah, you're going to have certain people that, have a rivalry and you're going to have to watch out for them. But for the most part, I mean,
nobody cares.
People don't care.
Yeah,
man.
And this place is big enough that you don't really have to even see. I mean, there's a big the upstairs, the second floor, they got a boxing area.
Yeah,
they have the octagon there. They have some mats there. Downstairs is more the physical stuff, weightlifting.
And they schedule out. It's not like you can just show up. You have to book your time.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's not like you just show up and be like, oh, God, there's my opponent, and we both wanted to use the heavy bag today.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they scheduled out. So it was pretty cool. But anyway,
That's
I thought the scene was cool. And then we went up to the Ronda Rousey room.
It's called the Ronda Rousey.
The Ronda Rousey.
It is the nicest conference room that they have that I've seen there.
We've been into several. We've been in the
in
Chuck
Bruce
Liddell
Lee,
room,
the
Bruce Lee,
so what is it?
The
The
Conor
Bruce Lee
McGregor.
room? Yeah.
There's a Mike Tyson one.
There's a Mike Tyson room.
I think that's about it.
What's in the Chuck Liddell room?
It's just a conference room.
Oh,
but it's a nice
There's
conference.
not like a Kempo karate gi with a Kempo karate black belt or something.
Just his the name of him.
The
on
Iceman.
The
No,
just
they,
says Chuck Liddell.
they have fight photos and stuff like that.
Yeah, but no, it's a nice room. It's a nice room. It's probably the second nice room. It actually opens up.
Is there
so
a
you can
Forrest
see out into
Griffin
the courtyard.
room,
No, Forrest Griffin just works
that's
there.
The performance. That's the performance.
Yeah, the Performance Institute, the Forrest Griffin room. So yeah, we got to sit on there. It was we were originally told, hey, you got 15 minutes.
Okay.
We pushed the envelope a little bit. We got to 30.
Wow.
But we got a Dana White that was very open, receptive. He seemed to be in a pretty good mood. And he gave us a whole lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So we've already played some bits and pieces up on MMA Junkie. You've seen little clips. But as the listeners of the Road Show know,
to reward our listeners,
gotta reward those listeners that've been waiting 6 months for us to get this damn thing done. You get first dibs.
So we get to listen to this.
We get to listen to it. Here is the full, unedited, 30-minute conversation between myself and Dana White.
Don't steal it, motherfuckers.
Well, Dana, I know the first half of the year was kind of a tough one, man, a little lean in putting together fights, but it feels like the schedule's stacking up right now. So I got to ask, are you getting excited and feeling like the second half's going to really build some momentum?
Yeah, but that's the way this business works. When you come off a year like we had last year, you just can't keep rolling. And first of all those guys fought. People end up injured, and we've still had a killer year, even though the blockbuster fights weren't there for us at the beginning of the year. And then the way that shit goes is as soon as everybody gets healthy again, the second half of your year is going to be killer.
I wonder what it's like for you. I mean, obviously you don't need to do this anymore. So when you're going through a lean time, is it ever tough? Do you think like, why am I doing this right now?
No, man, I love it. We were in there yesterday in the we call it the lab, where we make all the fights, and it's what I love to do. Let me tell you what, and it's to say this to you after all the things that have happened, and over the last 5 years or whatever. Wait till you see what we're working on next. Obviously we're here in the building, and this is going well for the fighters, the Performance Institute, the building for our employees, and then wait till you see what we're working on next. Next year we're gonna blow everybody away again.
So I mean, the thing I keep hearing is everybody betting, Dana's not gonna be around much longer, man. It's too much. It's too much going on. He's not gonna do this much longer. To that you answer,
what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? It's not like people treat it like I hit the lottery, and I had money before. It's not like like I hit the lottery and I'm just going to take off and disappear. I love this sport, and obviously the hardest part about the sale was leaving the Fertitta brothers. We've been together for 20 years in business together, and I went through a hard time. It was like a divorce. I went through that. I got through it, and I'm back on the ball and doing my thing. I love it. I'm not going anywhere, and we're actually working on some crazy shit right now, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll blow everybody's minds again next year.
No hints?
Just, I always say this to you guys. We continue to take the sport to the next level. This Performance Institute is part of it. And now that we have all of our people, our employees together in one spot, and collaboration is a lot better. We needed all that, but aside from that, we're looking at how we take, combat sports to the next level.
Very cool. Let's talk about some of the big fights you got on the horizon. Ultimate Fighter finale next week. Talk first about the Ultimate Fighter. 25 seasons in, amazing. I mean, that's a milestone in itself. Where do you see the Ultimate Fighter going? How long can it be around? What do you see its role as the sport continues to evolve?
I've been saying for 10 years that the Ultimate Fighter can go on forever. And if you look at, this season, we're in our 25th season. The thing's pulling 700,000 viewers on Fox Sports 1. The show is always going to be relevant, but you're going to have these, again, like we were talking about the beginning of the year. We came off a ridiculous year last year, and then we had a dip coming in this year, and the end of this year is going to go like this for us. It's the same thing with the Ultimate Fighter. Sometimes we get two coaches that are just unbelievable, and we get a cast that's just off the charts. This season was awesome. People are saying probably one of the best seasons ever, if not the best season ever this season. So, the Ultimate Fighter is always going to be relevant and be there. And obviously we're working on new fun things too. Looking for a Fight has been a fun show for me, Matt, and Dean, and the new Contender Series, Tuesday Night Fights.
Definitely. I want to talk about that in a second. I want to ask you the main event, Justin Gaethje versus Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
Fight fans are going to love this fight. I know Justin Gaethje's a new name for you, but I'm sure you spent a little bit of time around him. What do you think about this kid coming in?
I like bringing in these guys who are potential world champions and even potential top 5 guys. And this kid's got to come in, obviously, against a very, very tough veteran here at the UFC. Came off the Ultimate Fighter himself. And he's got to get over those UFC jitters, man. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this kid can do.
Yeah, I think fight fans are going to like that one. All right, the next night, the big one, UFC 213, Amanda Nunes, Valentina Shevchenko. Second year in a row that International Fight Week has been headlined by a women's fight. I'm just kind of interested, what you think about that, what it shows about the health of the women's sport. And do you ever worry that it's going to peak or plateau, or because it just keeps continuing to grow?
It just keeps going like this. And not only that, what do you think? How's it going and all this stuff? We're adding another weight division, the 125-pound division for women. So I'm very bullish on women's fighting right now. So, yeah, I'm in.
Do you think the division adding is over for now? It seems like you'll say we're not adding anything, and then something comes in. But what long term do you think? Maybe even more. 105 is one in the women's division. And of course, men are talking about changing up divisions. Maybe. What do you think?
I just got to stop saying no or never. Yeah, I don't know. I say right now, no. I can't see me bringing in another division, and no, I can't see me doing 105. But 6 months ago, I said no to the 125-pound, and here we are.
No doubt. The co-main event there, Yoel Romero, Robert Whittaker. Huge fight.
Love it.
What about the interim tag? Why is that the right call? Because, fans, sometimes you start throwing out that interim tag, and you get an interim champion, and the first thing he says is, this isn't the real belt. I want the real belt. So how do you reach that decision that you got to go interim?
Yeah, because I'm in this situation right now where Bisping's hurt. This should be Bisping versus Romero right now. Whittaker just destroyed Jacare. And Romero's been, beating everybody along the way, waiting for this title shot. And Bisping's not ready yet. And if there was ever an interim title fight, how is this one not worthy? This fight's going to be ridiculous. So,
Bisping, give us the update on him. Do you think he's, is he ready by the end of the year? And is he definitely, in line for the winner of this?
He is in line for the winner. And Bisping, Bisping's never turned down a fight, this guy. Me and Bisping go back a long way from his season of The Ultimate Fighter. And I've done a lot of things for Michael Bisping, and Michael Bisping's done a lot of things for me. We have a very good relationship, and we communicate a lot, even when we're both not really happy with the situation and what's going on. And yeah, me and Michael get this done.
So when we hear people say, oh, he's trying to duck a fight or avoid, you say that's ridiculous.
I'm going to tell you this. There are guys who turn down fights every day here, okay? Some I'm very public about and some I'm not, right? Bisping does not turn down fights. Bisping does not turn down fights. He does not. So I have a lot of respect for Mike. I like guys, you know, you're in the fight business. You should be willing to fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, especially if you're the champion or one of the top fucking 5 guys in the world. You shouldn't be turning down fights with anybody. And Bisping does not.
Nice. I guess we got some bad news maybe today. Can you maybe make that official that Cowboy and Lawler, it sounds like maybe that fight might not happen. Is there any development there?
Oh, that got out today, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've been working on this for like a week, but yeah. Here's the deal. Cowboy Cerrone is a stud. He's too tough for his own good. He absolutely wanted to fight. The kid's got a pulled groin. He's got a bruise from, you know, his knee to the inside of his groin, and his other knee is blown up. He's got staph infection. Could he come out and fight? Probably. Should he come out and fight Robbie Lawler with a pulled groin and no, he shouldn't. So we're going to get him healthy and we'll remake the fight.
Said maybe as soon as Anaheim, some of the reports out there.
Yeah, no, it won't be on Anaheim.
Okay, good stuff. Last thing that kind of tied into 213, Cody Garbrandt. What's the update with him? Of course, he was supposed to be there. What's the latest on him, and when can we see him fight?
Yeah, his back is getting better. He's progressing, so I'm hoping to have him back in October.
Fantastic. All right, after that wraps up, we'll go to the Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series the next couple days. Give us your kind of feel on that and kind of what you're hoping for.
Well, let me tell you, since this whole looking for a fight thing has happened, you know, once I got back out and started watching some of these up-and-coming guys again, I missed it, and I like it. And so, you know, we're always trying to think of, new products or new shows to bring the fans, and I came up with this one. And I love the idea of these fights being in the tough gym, not in an arena, you know, even not even in a small little venue like the Palms or, you know, Hard Rock or one of those places. I like the tough gym.
It's such a different feeling there, right? It's quiet.
It's the best. And what I'm going to do, I got to figure this out. I'm still working on it. I was goofing around with it one day on social media, but figure out how to bring some fans in that want to come, and we'll do like a special section for some fans. And to see a fight in the tough gym, and especially this is going to be, it's like when we go to shoot looking for a fight, every time I go, the fights are some of the best fights you'll ever see, because these guys are, it's like a job audition, man. You're auditioning for a job, and the guys that we're going to bring in, we're going to have, you know how every time we have an event, it's all a numbers game. There's people that have to be cut so that you can bring new people in. So what I'm thinking about doing is going to be obviously up-and-coming guys who have potential, but I'll also take some guys that could possibly be cut, and you can fight your way back into the UFC, you know. But there's just so many different cool things we can do with this in the tough gym. Every fucking Tuesday night I get to sit down there and watch some fights and some of the best up-and-coming kids in the world. We will tell their stories, who they are, where they came from, and I love it.
So the fact that your name is on this isn't just a marketing gimmick. I mean, this is part of your baby.
Oh, this is, yeah, it's 100% my thing. And when you see shit that has my name on it, I don't come up with that, just for the record, you know. We have a marketing group that comes up with what the name should be. It's not like, yeah, let's call this Dana White's this and Dana White's that. Believe me, that isn't coming from me.
Nice. All right. Well,
but this is definitely my baby, 100%. It's my thing, and I'm really excited about it. It's like when you were asking me earlier, people are saying, you're done. How much longer? Are you fucking crazy? Every day I come in here, and we go out and we find the best up-and-coming guys. We sit in a room for 4 or 5 hours, and we make fights, okay? Then I fly to some cool city, stay in a great hotel, and I got the best seats on earth to the best fights in the world. Where the fuck am I going? Nowhere.
Tough to get a better job than that, right? End of July, do UFC 214, Cormier versus Jones. Everybody's waiting for that one. Is that the biggest MMA fight of the year?
Yeah, I like that. It might be. I don't know. We still got some stuff up our sleeve the rest of this year, but it's one of the biggest fights this year. Absolutely. Period. MMA, boxing, or anything. One of the biggest fights this year. Absolutely.
Give us the update on John. Have you had a chance to talk to John and see where his head's at? Obviously, he had some personal tragedy to deal with.
I sent John a text, and I left him alone. You know, I sent him a text, and, you know, I hope he's well. I actually really, really like his mom and dad a lot. They're very good people. And his brothers, the whole family. You know, yeah. We haven't talked, but I sent a text to him. And, you know, because he and I haven't exactly been, you know, been buddy-buddy. And knowing John's probably not thrilled with some of the things that I've, you know, had to say and the way that I felt about, you know, the shit that's happened in the last whatever, but I do like his family, and I, you know, obviously, I felt horrible when his mom passed.
You think he'll be in a good place by the time it's fight time?
You know, I don't know if he'll be in a good place for a while, you know, after your mom passing, but you know, hopefully, you know, through that he can pull it together to, you know, to get out there and perform.
Nice. Another big fight that you're having trouble with on that, the Cyborg fight. It's just strange things keep happening around. I mean, can you tell us the latest of kind of what happened and why you had to go in the direction? And are you having any regrets with how this whole thing is playing out?
Nah, you know what? She had some personal problems and couldn't do this fight. And Tanya Evinger is a girl who's been around for a long time. She's tough. She's gritty. And what I'm really looking for is I want a woman that's going to go out and fight Cyborg. I believe Tanya Evinger is that woman. So we'll see.
She will definitely do that.
I agree.
Any updates on Jermaine? What's going on there? It's such a weird thing for her to, I don't want to say kind of avoid the fight, but it just,
Right.
you know, to not want to fight. If you're getting in the 145-pound business, you got to know who's there, right?
Listen, we make it very clear when you go into that division. Hold on a second, I got the hiccups. We make it very clear when you go into that division, you know who you're going to be fighting. It's not like, you know, basically Cyborg owns that division. So you go into the 45-pound division and you start, you know, you're fighting for a belt, or you're going to fight Cyborg.
Has there ever been any part of you through this whole process to just throw your hands up, be like, to hell with 145, we tried it, it didn't work, let's get rid of it?
No, you know, we signed Cyborg. We made a commitment to Cyborg, and, you know, not everything is easy, and not everything is as fun as you know, other divisions or whatever, but we made a commitment to this woman, and she's had a rough go here in the UFC, you know. She hasn't been thrilled with things that have been said, things that have been done, and to be honest with you, we've made some mistakes when it comes to Cyborg. So the least we can do is get our shit together and get this woman a fight for the title, you know?
Very cool. All right, the fight that everybody's talking about, of course, Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor. I guess first, is the venue done? Did we get the thing done from Ice Cube? Are we good for T-Mobile?
The Ice Cube thing was blown way out of proportion, and, you know, yeah, Ice Cube and I got that whole thing squashed. And the reality, I guess Ice Cube thought that I was talking shit about him, or Floyd was talking shit about him. Dude, I'm the biggest Ice Cube fan in the world, man. He's a great guy. I watched NWA 25,000 times. You know, I'm a huge Ice Cube fan. So, you know, he and I talked, and we got the whole thing, I don't want to say squashed because there was never anything there, but we got it all worked out. But that whole thing with Ice Cube was being blown way out of proportion, number one. And number two, everything's smooth and going in the right direction.
Everybody's blowing up about this fight, of course. Everybody I talk to wants to talk about it, just like you. What I want to know is, when did this fight actually turn from like fantasy matchmaking to reality? Because I believe in my heart, when they first started both talking about it, Conor and Floyd, I don't even think they thought it could happen. Right. And there were so many hurdles and obstacles. So what I want to know from you is, like, when did it become like, we could actually do this? Well,
the way that it happened was, I was on a PR tour for one of the fights, and I was at ESPN or one of those places, and I said, all right, Floyd, I'll give you $25 million. Give you $25 million bucks. Then he told TMZ, you see this watch? Get out of here with your $25 million. And I threw out an offer, and when I made a real offer, then a real negotiation starts. So That's really how it all began.
What prompted you to want to do it? Because everybody knows, you're the one that's having to give up your biggest star right now to allow him to go compete in another sport. So what motivated you to say, let's do this?
Well, there was just so much shit talk. It was like a ton of shit talk. And finally I was like, all right, here's an offer. There's an offer. And that's how it got started. And from there, it just started to roll.
Have you seen the odds at all that they keep shifting towards Conor? He's still obviously the underdog, but they're going way towards his favor. I mean, do you think people believe in him, or do you think it's just the power of Conor?
If you look at the lines, Floyd Mayweather versus other boxers and how crazy it is, and you look at the line for Conor, Berto was like minus 3,000. You know what I mean? Conor's like plus 750 or plus 500 or something crazy like that. Yeah, this whole thing is nuts, man. It's nuts. It's gonna be a crazy thing to be a part of. We're putting together the world tour right now, so we're actually gonna head out on a world tour in a couple weeks. How batshit fucking nuts do you think that's gonna be?
That's gonna be crazy. Is Dublin gonna be a stop on the tour?
London.
Yeah. More media over there, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Very cool. How many stops do you think you'll have?
We got quite a few stops. Yeah, we're doing a pretty big world tour. It's gonna be fun, man. I keep talking about, everybody's got their opinions. I heard Manny Pacquiao said, he won't even touch him. I even heard Tyson said he won't even touch him. That's what the word is. I didn't read that personally, but that's what I heard. And my whole thing is I stopped doubting Conor McGregor a long time ago, man. When I first started, signed this kid, got behind him, and started to go, it's like, Jesus, Poirier's tough, man. You know what I mean? This guy's tough. Conor is, I told you, I say it all the time. I call him a unicorn, but I stopped doubting him.
So people say this would be the greatest upset in like sports history
ever. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Tell me a bigger upset. If Conor McGregor knocks out Floyd Mayweather, right? Tell me something bigger. He'll be the biggest athlete on the fucking planet. It'll be absolute madness.
It's going to be madness. I guess for UFC fans, what happens to the lightweight title in the meantime? While he's doing this, does an interim fight need to happen?
Well, what needs to happen is those two need to fight. We have to have, we got to
send an Nurmagomedov.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So those guys got to fight. It would have seemed a lot worse if those two fought and they were all sitting around waiting. It didn't happen. That fight still needs to happen. So this thing could time out perfectly. You know what Conor told me? He says, I want Khabib in Russia. Is he fucking awesome? He's like, I want Khabib in Russia. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Amazing.
Conor McGregor is a fucking unicorn. There's nothing like him. And he's working on boxing Floyd Mayweather, and then he's talking about Khabib in Russia right after. It's just, those are the kind of things that make that kid a fucking superstar. I got guys telling me, I don't want to fucking, I don't want to fight this guy, and I don't want to do this. I want Floyd Mayweather, and I want fucking Khabib in Russia. How do you not love him? How do you not love Conor McGregor? It's amazing.
It's the best. All right, let's quick hit some other guys. Max Holloway, guy looked incredible in Brazil. Talk to me about just what you think about how impressive he's become, and could he get in his fight in Hawaii that he's been begging for years?
Yeah, no, he's awesome, and if you look at his run, it's been amazing. He's a good kid. Hawaii finally has a champ again, and listen, nobody wants to fly to Hawaii and do a show more than me and my staff. I mean, who wouldn't want to go there? And the media, everybody wants to go there. It's a tough one to pencil. They don't have an arena. They have the outside bowl. I'm terrified to do anything outside with fighting. I used to spend a lot of time in Hawaii early on when we bought the company because there were a lot of good fights out there. It rains every 10 minutes. You know what I mean? It's raining, then it's beautiful out. It's raining, then it's beautiful out. And it's just scary, man. And the thing just doesn't pencil right now. But 6 months ago, I said we wouldn't do the 125-pound division. So I'm not saying no anymore. We'll see what happens.
Give us the update on George St. Pierre. We got the tease. We thought we had him back, and then things fell apart. What's the temperature on that right now?
George and I talked a couple days ago. He was in Vegas, and, you know, George saying he wants to fight. We'll get this thing figured out. Talking about Tyrone Woodley and Damian Maia. Okay? These two are going to fight soon. And that will free up a 170-pound champion for George St. Pierre to return and try to regain his belt.
Very cool. Nice upset there. All right. Demetrius Johnson, guy sitting on the cusp of breaking the all-time record. Could be the greatest ever, and then all of a sudden it sounds like he's unhappy. What's the latest there? And
I'm not thrilled with Demetrius Johnson. You're the pound-for-pound best in the world. TJ Dillashaw challenges you, one of the best in the world, former world champion, and you flat out deny the fight. Flat out say, I won't do it. I want Ray Borg. Nothing against Ray Borg. Guys, you know, he's doing his thing. It just, yeah. All right, hey, you know, you want Ray Borg, we'll give you Ray Borg.
So you're going to make that fight?
Yeah. Make the fight. Sure, the fans will be clamoring for it, and ticket sales will be through the roof, and pay-per-views will be off the charts. You know? Who wouldn't want to see Demetrius Johnson versus TJ Dillashaw? Dillashaw calling me every day. I'm cutting weight. I'm cutting weight. I'm dieting. I'm training. I'm cutting weight. Do I got the fight? Do I got the fight? Ask TJ Dillashaw next time you see him or you interview him. Calling me every day. Chomping at the bit for the fight. You would expect the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world to go, let's do it, right? You're on the cusp of breaking the record and doing all this stuff. The exact opposite. And you know, you're talking about super fights and you want $2 million and all this other stuff, you know? So, yeah, I'm not thrilled about it, but guess what? You want Ray Borg? We'll give you Ray Borg. Is that what you, okay.
Does the future
I don't want to hear any shit. You know, if you know, it's not the blockbuster event you expect it to be.
Does the future of the division hang in the balance? I mean, he suggested that maybe you talked about getting rid of it. Is that a possibility?
So the night we were at Snoop Dogg, when the big thing was going on, what I said to him was, you know, a couple of years ago, we were actually talking about getting rid of the division. There was never a threat to him, oh, we're going to get rid of the division. That was complete bullshit. And 90% of what he came out and said was complete bullshit. I just don't care. I'm not going to go out and defend. Never did I say to him, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to get rid of your division. What I said to him was a couple of years ago, we were talking about, I've built an ultimate fighter around you to try to build you. Says he hasn't been promoted. Who has defended that weight division more than me? I mean, I used to stand up in front of you guys at the press conference going, this kid's amazing, he's unbelievable, he's this, he's that, which he is. I'm not saying he's not. But we're in a spot right now where you have the opportunity to really get out there. TJ Dillashaw called you out. He's one of the best in the world, and he's a former world champion. You know, many people thought he won the fight against Cruz. You know what I mean? And this is the guy, you flat out say, I don't want to fight this guy. I want this guy. I want to fight the number 5 or 6 guy instead of, you know, it's just, you know, it's when I talk about the Conor McGregor thing, there's the complete fucking opposite of Conor McGregor, okay? I want to roll into Russia and fight Khabib. The guy that, you know, if you ask most fans of media, say, keep him away from fucking Khabib. You know what I mean? No, I want Khabib and I want him in Russia, in his home country. It's just the complete opposite.
We're going to see a Diaz brother fight in 2017, one or both?
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I don't know. I honestly don't think that, and I can't speak for him, and you'd have to speak to Nick himself, but if you asked me, like people ask me, think Ronda's coming back? No, I think Ronda's going to retire. Ronda hasn't retired, but my opinion is, I think she will. I don't think Nick Diaz will ever fight again. I just don't think he has the desire anymore. The thing about fighting, first of all, it's a young man's game. You got to be young, hungry. You got to be a an animal to jump out of bed every day and go in there and train the way that you do, and the things that you have to do to get to the UFC, let alone break into the top 10 or the top 5 or be a world champion, you have to love it. And I don't think that Nick loves it anymore. Nate, I think that Nate, Nate probably will if something popped up, but that's just my opinion. If you ask the Diaz brothers, they might have a different opinion.
Nice. Well, I appreciate all the insight, Dana. Last thing I have from you, it still seems like a very interesting time in company history, right? I mean, it's still relatively new, and it seems like everybody's still a little bit worried. I think fans are like, are things changing? Are they getting different? Is it a good time? Is it a bad time?
It's a great time.
I just want to ask, give me an idea of your temperature in the future.
It's a great time. Let me tell you what, when have I ever told you guys that big things were coming and big things didn't come? We're working on a lot of great stuff. Obviously, we're still doing all the things we're doing. This is just the surface stuff that I'm telling you, how we're out looking for opportunities for these younger up-and-coming guys where the fans will have the opportunity to see some of these rising stars on this new show and looking for a fight. Not to mention the fact, all the things that we're doing that you don't know about to cultivate talent. Working on things in Mexico and China, China, and the UK right now. We're working on things in Russia, and we're working on some even bigger shit that I said we'll probably be announcing next year. It's all good. Everybody thinks I'm going somewhere or doing something. I'm not going anywhere, man. We're dug in like ticks over here, and we are working on great shit. Ari and I have known each other for 12 years. We could not have a better relationship. We get along, perfect, and it's all good.
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's just because fans love the sport so much, you know what I mean, that they don't want to see their baby change or go away or corporatize or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, as we get bigger, as we continue to get bigger, I mean, we're already way more corporate than we ever were in the early days, but we were before we sold too. That hasn't really changed. I don't know how corporate I am. I'm never going to be corporate. It is what it is with me. And I'm in it for all the reasons I was ever in it. The day that I walked out of my job when I was 19 years old, it wasn't because I thought I was going to get rich in the fight business, And the fact that it did all work out doesn't change a thing for me. I'm in this. I jump out of bed every fucking day, ready to come in here and battle, ready to win, and ready to take the sport to the next level.
Even on the bad days?
Oh, especially on the bad days. The bad days are the days you really gotta, because this business is. It's just the difference is now, the me today, from the me 10 years ago, is I've been through the bad days. Lorenzo said it best. Lorenzo said it the best. When Lorenzo looks back on the UFC, right? He says, think about this. The worst days we ever had at the UFC were fucking awesome. And it's true. You know what I mean? We loved what we did. And even the shittiest days we ever had were awesome.
Welcome back to the MMA Roadshow. That was Dana White, UFC President. Finally got our sit down. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Tried to balance it a little bit of talking about some upcoming fights, letting him do his job as a promoter with getting a little bit of news as well. So should say, if you like what you listen, especially after an interview like that, do us a favor. Log into iTunes. Go in there. Like us. Subscribe to us. Was it like it? It's rate us.
No, subscribe.
Rate us.
Definitely
want to subscribe. Definitely want to subscribe. Rate us.
We rated you.
Leave some comments. If you've always been on if you're like, I don't know. Leave us some comments. Tell us what's good. Tell us what's bad. I don't mind. Mostly what's good, if you don't mind. I appreciate it. But
I like the bad, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with constructive criticism.
I am so not.
Cold coffee does not like constructive criticism.
I lock myself in a closet every time.
What's one of the worst ones you've gotten? Cold coffee.
I don't. He reads it. I don't.
Okay, we have fun with ours because on one of them I got called Asian hillbilly, and I've never heard that before.
All right, you call me Papa Bear. I'll call you Asian hillbilly.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you for that.
I like it.
Thank you.
Well, so much to break down. All right, a lot of topics that we got to cover there, which is cool. Like I said, we had some of it out on MMA Junkie already. Hopefully you guys did that. Let's start with what everybody's talking about, McGregor-Mayweather. We still got so many weeks until this fight, so I've been reluctant to spend too much time talking about it. But since we have noted boxing trainer Angelo Reyes, I figured it made sense to talk about it a little bit. First of all, we should say the world tour will be fun.
Oh,
it's going to be a blast.
If they charge for it, I'd pay it. It's
right?
going to be fun.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Gonna be
I'm hoping we can cover every stop. They're going to be in London. They're not doing Dublin, as Dana White confirmed there. My understanding, by the way, in hearing that, because I could see that Floyd's probably not in a big rush to get to Dublin. You know what I mean? But my understanding is just the London thing really wasn't so much about home field advantage or not. It was more about the fact that there's just so much more global media based in London than there is in Dublin. And yeah, maybe some of those people would make. I mean, this is a big sporting event. Let's not. I mean,
this is an event. It's a global event.
So maybe some people would send resources out to Dublin, pay for their flights, pay for their hotel room. But when they can just pick up a feed of something, they'd probably do that. You're going to get so much more media in London. I can tell you, I know we'll do our best to have Abby Subban and Shamat Sandu there. People have been asking me, and I really don't know, because people are saying, hey, are you guys going to cover the fight live? We don't even really know, to be honest with you. But so I'm assuming we can get those guys into the London stop, and that's the only stop we know about. I'm sure they'll do L.A. I imagine they'll do New York. Which we have USADA offices in both places. I mean, they're going to stop at the big media sites. So we don't know the whole schedule yet, but I'm just telling you, we're going to do our damnedest to have people at every single stop. I want to cover, just like we did, when McGregor and Aldo did the World Tour, we had USADA/MMA Junkie resources at pretty much every one. So hopefully we have everyone covered. But the truth is, we really don't know yet, because the UFC isn't handling credentialing with all these situations. It's boxing. And
boxing's pretty smart. I remember when they did De La Hoya Mayweather. That was a big a global event. And San Francisco.
Yep.
Because that's a major market.
Yep.
New York.
Yeah, they'll hit the
LA.
big ones. You got to think LA, New York, Chicago, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, Chicago.
We'll
that's
see.
Right.
Boston for the Irish population?
No, because once you hit
New
York, you hit everything.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this fight. A couple things that Dana said there. When I asked him, is it the biggest upset ever? And if Conor were to win, would it be the biggest upset ever? And I did that in wanting to ask him, does he think it's a long shot? Because he could have said, because I would think if you Conor has a good chance, you go, well, no, it's not the biggest upset. I mean, it would be crazy, but he straight up said, tell me a bigger upset. If Conor McGregor knocks out Floyd Mayweather, tell me something bigger. He'll be the biggest athlete on the effing planet. It'll be absolute madness. To me, that says that he does realize it's a long shot for Conor.
I think he realizes
I think he's realistic about it, right?
I think every single time you've heard Dana White talk, he realizes this is a long shot. But what the hell? Let's take the shot.
We got to be right. It's like you got to be there.
Let's take the shot.
And that's what I've been trying to tell people. When I do mainstream radio interviews and stuff like that, all they want to talk about is this fight, right? And the way I look at it is this: is that I don't necessarily think it's going to be competitive. I really don't necessarily think it'll be competitive. I mean, I get it. I get all the arguments you make, and Dana's laid them out there, right? Conor's younger. He's bigger. He's got a powerful left hand. Floyd's older. He's had the layoff. He's, quote-unquote, struggled with southpaws while going 49-0. So, I mean, there are things, right? There are things that you can grasp, like little reasons to say maybe. And Angelo, as you know, we were talking about it before we got on the air here. A fight's a fight.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Anything can happen in a fight.
Anything can happen.
You can land a crazy punch. Right. You can make one mistake. Right. That's what makes fight sports so fun, right? Is because anything can happen. But I do think that even Dana White is probably realistic that this is a long shot.
This is definitely a long shot. And again, I was, I co-hosted with George and Goes, and I got eviscerated for saying what I said.
3 rounds, right? Floyd in 3? Floyd in 3.
And here's the thing. I understand why people have a hard time believing it, which is why I've also had fun at all the other programs I've been a part of.
And the number one hate is probably just the fact that Floyd's not a knockout artist, right? So is that why?
They don't get that. how Floyd fights that night will be dependent upon how he feels. And if he's feeling it, like he was feeling it on the Victor Ortiz night, knocked him out. Feeling it on the Gaeji night, knocked him out. You know, and even in the Guerrero fight, and that's a really good one for everybody to watch. Watch the Guerrero fight, he was feeling it. Then he hurt his hand.
Yes.
Then he started kind of throwing
early, and then he
kind of started throwing his right hand a little bit differently because he hurt it. So, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. That's why percentage-wise, you can't say there's 0 chance. You can say you can't do the Max Kellerman.
I say it's 1 in 100.
Yeah, you can't do that.
What,
you
that he'll
can't
win?
go.
Yeah, 1 in 100.
Yeah. I mean,
But do you think Floyd can knock Conor out?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think he can.
Oh, you're so wrong.
I don't think so.
Oh, cold coffee.
I mean,
you're
I think
so wrong.
I think the punches that Conor takes repeatedly with the lesser gloves and less, I don't think he's going to get the same level from those 10-ounce gloves.
My guess is Floyd by decision. That's my
I think it's going to be a
That's a
decision
good
as
bet.
well.
Decision.
No, but
It's
Floyd-
going to be a decision.
Look, guys,
It doesn't
I mean,
take
he's
a
not
genius
gonna
to
finish.
figure out. It
Okay.
doesn't take a genius.
He is not
right?
going to finish
a
Conor.
good safe bet is Floyd on the over.
Right.
Or just the over.
But
just
you don't
pick the
get
over.
headlines saying Floyd
Yeah,
by decision.
not
You
at
don't
all.
get headlines
No, I
saying
get a
Floyd in
headline by
3.
saying Floyd's going to knock him out in 3 rounds. You know, but here's the thing, right? Okay, I definitely, I know Brendan Schaub put out there something like the whole,
bet
I'll bet
100
you
grand.
$100,000 that he'll win at least a round. I said that before Brendan Schaub said that because I was saying.
So where's your
What-
100
But
grand?
Brendan Schaub
what-
has $100,000. That's
No,
the
no.
difference.
What I was saying is, you know, like Floyd,
You used to have 100 decibel
look,
voice.
The reason why, look, the reason why Zab
He's
Judah
got
fight.
that candy bar, $100,000. He's like, I'll put this on.
Look,
I'll
the
put 3 of them on it.
The reason why Zab Judah fight was so close is because Floyd's MO is he's gonna he wants to see what the pitch looks like.
Right.
Let me see what the pitch looks like.
Right.
And sometimes you get struck out when the pitch looks like that. He's been rocked by Mosley, rocked by Zab, blah 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 about all of his times. What ended up happening in that fight? In fact, whenever they say, "Oh well," you know, I think Dana even put it out. Oh, he can be hit. Yes, because everybody can be hit, Dana.
Right.
But look at the round that Mosley rocked him in. Near the last minute of that round, Mayweather was beating his ass like it was already done, and the rest of the fight was just a Mosley ass beating. So Conor is no Mosley, and if he rocks Floyd, let's say in the first round, I'll give it to you.
Right.
Conor wins the first round. Make that bet, Cold Coffee. Conor wins the first round. He even rocks, let's say, Floyd. Floyd will beat his ass
You know what,
so
that's-
bad.
That's honestly not a bad future.
That's not a bad
That's
bet.
not a bad future. If you
Okay.
can find a future,
Yeah.
you know, that I'll put a bet on Conor winning round 1. That's
Why
actually
not?
not a bad.
That's not a bad bet.
That's not a
because
bad bet.
Floyd
Because
usually
you'll probably get pretty good odds
because
on it.
Floyd
Yeah, but-
usually gives it to you.
You don't think Conor's
Just
going to
gives
try
it
to
to you.
just size him up and try to get his timing down through that whole first?
How is okay?
No,
it's
I think he wants
Cold
to bully
Coffee.
You think he's
and
going
make
to
it
try
up.
to
listen
just
to
come
me.
out? and-
Okay. First of all, let me I want to point this out. So for all you guys listening, explain to me exactly how Conor McGregor is going to pick up Floyd Mayweather's timing. Because if you've never hit a baseball pitch before, and Randy Johnson is in front of you,
I'd
how
smoke
the
that
fu-
ball.
How to
Smoke that ball.
How are you going to smoke it? And that's what I mean is it's like, so here's one of his sparring partners, Deshaun Johnson that came out, right? That guy got knocked out by Floyd's promoted guy, a good friend of ours, Jay Leon Love, who is going to be on the undercard of Floyd's fight. If Floyd's promoted fighter knocked that guy out, and that's Conor's sparring partner, how is that helping Conor? In fact,
That's
in
that
fa-
boxing math
you know,
right there. That's like MMA math.
And here's the thing. And in fact, recently, our my good friend Paulie Malandaji, they're negotiating. Conor's interested in maybe
Right.
Paulie being a sparring partner.
I think Paulie said
And
he's going to be part of the camp. He just doesn't know
Maybe,
exactly what he's
maybe
going to
the
do.
price
yet.
has got to be right.
Well,
buddy.
I think he did an interview today with Sky Sports where he said he's going to be a part of the camp. He just doesn't know what the role will be yet.
Exactly. He doesn't, and he told me the same thing. He was like, "Hey, man, bro, I don't know exactly what it'll be like. So, we'll see, because I might actually."
Well, what roles are there?
you know,
like advisor, stand
No,
outside
no,
the
no,
ropes,
because once
Observer.
you
chant shit in the
observer.
room.
Water bottle man.
Keep your left up. I'm
no,
gonna go get some water
Good.
now.
Okay, now
All right,
That'll be
let me ask-
$100,000,
Let me
please.
ask you this. Okay, here's the one thing that, and Dana said it, and I love this quote too. My whole thing is I stopped doubting Conor a long time ago, man.
True.
When I first signed this kid, got behind him and started to go, it was
True.
like, Jesus, Poirier's a tough man. This Conor is, I say it all the time, this guy's like a unicorn, man. I stopped doubting him. And I will say that. Conor has some kind of
100%.
weird, this like
magical
weird,
unicorn.
dude, and it's
Yeah.
just this self-confidence.
Yep.
I've had it all the time. People are like, what's Conor like behind the scenes? What's he really like?
He's
and I'm like,
confident.
dude, he is literally the most confident person I've ever seen in my life. He's nice. He's actually very polite behind the scenes. That brash bravado, it's not necessarily there. He's very polite. He's a good dude. But I mean, like, he honestly believes he's an Irish warrior reincarnated from the battleground. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, it's insane.
Great.
So, like, he'll never second-guess himself. He'll never be mentally out of the fight.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
no, he's not going to be a punk. He's not going to quit.
Now, again, I've already said I'm picking Mayweather by decision.
Yes. Yeah.
But I will say that helps me fuel that 1 in 100. Conor, not only is he a great athlete, he's incredibly special when it comes to that mental strength.
Part.
You know what I mean? I don't think there's anything that could happen that he'll feel like I have no shot. You know?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and he's going to need that. And having said that too, if they hire Paulie Malignaggi, we're all professionals here. I said it on record. I said, shit, if they hired me to help out, and the boxing community started giving me crap about helping out, I'd just show them the check. I'd be like, this is what I'm getting paid to help Conor out, guys. So I'm going to be a professional about this, and I'm going to help him out.
So you think people are going to turn on Paulie if he?
No, not at all.
Oh,
Paulie, not at all. Not even a little bit. But here's what will happen is that because he's commentating that night, it'll actually be pretty fun because he's the commentator.
I didn't even think about
so
that.
he'll be able to say, "Hey, man, I was in there with Conor."
Forgot about that.
Right.
So that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing for the program.
It probably is because it's such an unknown.
It's an unknown.
To have a guy.
And again, you have to remember that if Paulie gets hired, he signs a non-disclosure where he doesn't talk about it. Just like if I got hired, I have to sign a non-disclosure.
I hadn't even thought about the fact that he's on the broadcast.
it would be fun. But that's why they have to make the price right.
Yeah.
Paulie's not going to do it for free, guys. No. Paulie's not going to do it for free. So Conor's going to need to break out some of that 125
But if
million.
you're Conor, do you worry a little bit about like bringing somebody that's from the community or whatever?
No, right, because he's doing that now. No. If they brought me in, I'd be professional about it.
I need to talk to John Kavanaugh because I wanted to I mean, he's a phenomenal MMA coach, right? I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. John Kavanaugh is one of the very best MMA coaches out there, and he proves it time and time again with different fighters like James Gallagher.
And he's got striking coaches in there that
his striking coaches. Alan Rowdy's a very good coach.
Are they equipped to box?
I don't know. Because the easy headline answer is hell no.
Right.
Because Freddie Roach wasn't equipped to fight Floyd Mayweather, and he had two horses. He had De La Hoya, and he had Manny Pacquiao. Both lost.
I mean, those guys are okay.
Yes, exactly. Hall of Famers, right? Okay? And that's what I mean is Freddie Roach.
They're no Conor McGregor.
Greatest. I mean, I'm sorry, John Kavanaugh, love you as an MMA coach. Alan Rowdy, you're a great MMA striking coach. You guys are no Freddie Roach in boxing. So just going to throw it out there that the easy headline answer, if you want to get it out there, Ken, is Angelo Reyes says, hell no. Your coaches doesn't have
Well,
it.
let me get your trained eye. All right, we saw today the footage. Floyd Mayweather posted some footage. Conor McGregor posted some footage. Give me the – all right, first of all, let's talk about what Floyd was doing.
Yes.
Let's talk about what Floyd was doing. For those that don't necessarily follow boxing, don't necessarily understand the art and the training, and I'll profess to be one of them. I tell you all the time, I am not a boxing historian. I'm not a boxing expert, which is why I never pretend to be one. Give us an idea of what Floyd was doing in that little drill, in that little moment that we see on the bag, and then let's just start there.
Okay.
Give us an idea.
Look,
what did you see in Floyd's tape?
In a very elite level, and I can speak to this because I was fortunate enough that Floyd Mayweather had opened the doors and allowed world champion Ana Hulaton, who was the Freddie Roach student.
Angelo Reyes mentioned Ana Hulaton.
I'm just saying.
The world champion Ana
All right,
Hulaton?
I'm just saying.
Of course he's going to name drop that.
Look, I'm throwing it out there. But that's the reason why I got in. I mean, I didn't get in because I was Angelo Reyes.
Right.
I got in because
you were the plus one.
Yeah, I'm the plus one. Okay, so I was the plus one on this. Yeah. But I got to watch the Robert Guerrero training camp. I got to watch him when he was training for Canelo Alvarez. And these workouts, guys, up to that point, you have to understand that I was a Manny Pacquiao guy. Mm-hmm. I was watching all of that because Ana Hulaton was training with Manny Pacquiao. So I was watching all of it.
World champion.
You were world champion. 3-time world champion. Papa Bear. All right?
I mean, let's just be clear.
Let's just be clear. There's some posers out there right now. All right? So,
there might be one-time world champion. They ain't 3-time world champion.
But here's the thing. Up to that point, I was like, man, I've never seen anyone work out harder than Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's crazy. Then I saw Floyd Mayweather, and I was like, what the hell is this? And he works out at all kinds of hours. He does crazy stuff like come from a white party that he put together, that he doesn't drink on or do any partying on. He's just there to take care of everybody else. Then he tells the crew, all right, y'all, get into the cars. We're going to the gym. It's 3 in the morning. Or he'll just do something crazy like, ring, ring, get up, people, gonna run, 2 in the morning, right? And it's like he knows his cycle. He knows his body.
He doesn't drink.
He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do drugs, doesn't do any of this stuff. This man is the youngest bodied 40-year-old man.
So what did you see? So watching that tape itself, break it down. What did you take out of that?
What you got, for you guys who don't understand, the double end drill that he's doing is closer to the end of his crazy workout. That wasn't the beginning. That wasn't a warm-up. That was near the end. So let's just assume.
Would that explain why there were so many people just sitting around watching him?
Oh, yeah.
Like.
Well, no, this is boxing too, though.
That's boxing. You just have a ton of people sitting around watching some guy work a bag.
You know, it's weird, Ken. Okay, it's weird because if you're really into MMA, and then you get to watch this, like, let's say you're into MMA, you get to watch Conor, and it's the first time you're getting to watch the camp. You really get to like go, wow, man, I can't believe he's doing this. I can't believe he's doing that. That's what's happening in that scene. Everybody's sitting there going, I mean, you can see it in their eyes. They're going, fucking A, man. This guy's 40, and he's doing all of that, and he's still doing that. And all that stuff that Floyd says, you know, like, and he's talking, that's him, guys. That's him talking to himself. And this is why we in the boxing community respect him so much is that, remember the Marvin Hagler line, it's hard to get up in the morning if you're wearing silk pajamas at night.
Yep.
Floyd Mayweather owns silk pajama factories. All right? And he still gets up in the morning and works harder than any of the current champions, which is why we're all so confident in saying, oh, don't worry, Conor, you're going to get paid to get your ass beat.
So what did you see? The timing, the movement?
Dude, what we saw is –
I'm not hearing – I don't want to hear he looks good for 40 because, of course, he looks good for 40.
He looks good. He would whoop I will confidently say that the Floyd we're
we're talking about a tiny clip, obviously. Okay. It's not even sparring. It's bag work.
Okay, can I say this again? And this will be my 3rd time that I will say the name. Otto Hulton.
World champion. Three-time world champion.
Otto Hulton was there doing some of her MMA training when Floyd was working out. I think this was about a week and a half ago. Okay, Floyd was in the gym. He was in the tail end of his workout. In seeing what we're seeing even at that point, we're like, damn. That Floyd Mayweather would beat Golovkin's ass. Ooh. So we're like, man. This is why I was so confident going into Junkie Studios and saying, oh, no, he's going to knock him out in like 3 rounds. Now, is it possible, John Morgan, that it goes the distance? Of course, anything is possible.
95% probable.
You know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does, if he just puts it on him. If he just says, okay, felt you out in the first round, kid. Thank you for all of that. Nice 28-year-old Conor McGregor. And now I'm about to whoop your ass.
All right, so then
you know what I thought? You know what popped in my head when you brought it up earlier, and I just want to say it before I forget, when he was like, this could be the biggest upset ever or whatever. As soon as he said it, you know what popped in my head? Miracle on Ice.
Right?
No,
that
dude,
was bigger.
That's not fair.
That was bigger.
No, okay.
That was bigger. That is bigger than Conor. If Conor McGregor knocks out Floyd, the Miracle on Ice will still be bigger.
Yes, absolutely. Miracle on Ice would 100% still be bigger. And can I just say this too? I think Holly Holm knocking out Ronda Rousey was a bigger thing. 18 to 1 underdog. No.
Okay,
don't be a
it was
huge, but Ronda was not a Floyd.
Dude,
the odds that we're seeing now, to me, are not based on reality. They're based on popularity.
Popularity, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're based
on biggest upset. Okay, all right.
I mean, yeah,
it was a huge upset.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Huge. Is Conor McGregor currently on any boxing magazine covers right now? Yes or no?
Probably will be.
But I was going to say.
No, I don't think he will be at all.
He will be. Because they know somebody will pick it up. Do they even make boxing magazines?
Yeah, well.
No, the answer is no, he's not.
Name one boxing magazine that you know.
Okay,
I've never seen a boxing magazine.
Here's the thing, though.
Where do they sell these? In boxing gyms?
Well, look, Ring Magazine was the biggest one.
They don't still publish.
No, they do, but it's Oscar De La Hoya owned, which is why we all kind of ragged on Oscar, and we're like, you're a punk for putting Ronda Rousey on the cover, because that was wrong. That wasn't right to do. Ronda Rousey should not have been on the cover
All
of
right,
Ring
but you
Magazine.
got to put Conor in.
They should have had 3-time world champion.
I would have rather
have
seen Conor on it.
All right,
actually.
so all right, let's talk about Conor's footage. And Conor had the and no accident. Nothing Conor does is by accident. But he had the quote in there. You've never seen these moves. Let me ask you: did you see anything in his bag work that impressed you or worried you?
I haven't seen anything that Conor's done in any of his amazing knockouts or amazing performances as an MMA striker to worry me at all about what he's going to do to Floyd.
What about, and it is an
But
argument.
same thing with the Floyd. Floyd was at the end of the workout. We don't know when this footage happened
Okay,
in
true.
terms of his
I'll give you
workout.
that.
To me, I think he was just.
That's true.
If anything, I think he was just stretching
Sure,
out. It could
why
have been
not?
cool down.
It could have
Well,
been
how
cool
about-
down.
how
It could have
about
been
cool
warm
down?
up.
How about the fact, and this is an argument that people use, and it's kind of a weird argument, but I kind of understand where it's coming from. People are going to say, because Conor isn't a trained boxer, he's going to come in and he's going to move differently. He's going to act differently. You know what I mean? Like, you know how it is. I mean, you're in sparring. You
Yeah,
kind of know.
I actually
Familiarity.
okay.
You're like, I know how he's going to
Okay,
move. I know he's going to do.
yeah.
I mean, it's like you get that weird. It's like you get that weird dude that's in day one and he comes in and he punches you once because
Guys.
you're like, the fuck are you even doing right now?
No,
You know what I mean?
guys,
Like,
listen to me. Listen to me. I get it. If Conor's
Is there
team,
anything to that?
If Conor's team hired me, even George asked me that question, and I'm like, I wouldn't fuck with whatever Conor's doing because actually that's his best chances. His best chances is to believe that whatever style he thinks he can bring, it mentally is what's going to do it. At the end of the day, can I just say this? Because again, you want to.
Oh, you're going to say it regardless.
Well, you're just going to want to
it
know.
involves world champion
Okay.
Anna Hulaton.
All right. No. I'm not going to do that anymore. But listen, okay. Emmanuel Augustus, look it up. One of the most awkward fighters in boxing.
I was thinking the kid that got
Floyd-
sucked up in the tube.
Floyd
in,
even said, man, it was
Willy
weird.
Wonka.
Yeah, no.
Was
Floyd,
that Augusta Glue?
No. Floyd Mayweather even said, man, it was really weird to fight him. It was hard to get his timing, blah, blah, blah. 9th round TKO. I'm just saying, people. I'm just saying that when everybody says, well, you've never seen anyone that looks like Conor, wrong. Floyd has seen every single possible scenario of boxing in a boxing ring that you could ever see. He has fought all the styles. He has fought them young. He has fought them old. And here's the thing, too. Conor McGregor himself said, and I quote, in a Conan O'Brien interview, there are many ways to beat Floyd Mayweather, and boxing is not one of them. He already said it, dude. So I don't know what the fuck he thinks he's going to do.
He was saying that because boxing is fixed.
all right.
Has anybody, Angelo, has
Damn
anybody,
it, cold coffee.
has anybody ever got, I mean, I know Floyd's, you know, he lives in the trash talk game. He does. Has anybody ever gotten under his skin leading up to a fight? Is there any point in his career has he, because Conor's, I mean, I know everybody talks shit, right? I know everybody talks trash. Conor is something special, and I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, I know but do you go back to literally every single person afterwards? Diego Brandao, this dude doesn't do shit to me, and then you admit after, I was a little intimidated. Dustin Poirier, this guy didn't get in my head. You talked to him after, he's like, that dude got in my head. He's like, I fought differently than I should have fought because I wanted to prove a point. Eddie Alvarez, I think we all believe that Eddie Alvarez broke on fight week when Conor got him, you know, at the press conference. Like you could see it. Jose Aldo, I honestly believe the reason Jose Aldo was knocked out in 13 seconds had as much to do with psychological warfare of that whole buildup as it did with the technique itself. Because Jose Aldo came out, who's like one of the most conservative fighters in the world at this point, and he's like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna knock you out like right now.
I'm gonna knock you out in 13 seconds."
You know what I mean? So like, I do believe Conor is something special when it comes to that side of the game. Have we seen Floyd tested in that manner?
Conor McGregor is 100% everything that you're saying. Very special in MMA.
A unicorn, some would
in
say.
MMA.
Right.
This, in a lot of ways, the media tour, and I don't think it will go this way because I think Floyd, remember, this is a boxing media tour, which means Floyd Mayweather Sr. gets to talk. Jamie Kavanaugh is going to have to be involved in it. There's going to be trash talking. You guys are about to see what it's like. This is why I was excited. I'm like, hey, Angelo, did you like this match? I'm like, hell yeah. Because now everybody's going to get a chance to see what the difference is between boxing and MMA right in front of their face. They're going to see it from the promotions to the way the teams talk to the way trash talk is done. And here's what I'll say about the Floyd Mayweather trash talking. See, everybody thinks he trash talks. All he does is give you facts. He actually doesn't trash talk. See, trash talking is Conor saying, I'm going to knock you out. Now, that's cool. He does it. He didn't do it to Nate Diaz, though, did he?
No.
Floyd doesn't sit there and go, oh, I'm going to knock you out. He just says, I'm the best ever. 49 have tried, 49 have failed. I've never seen a fighter make $100 million in one night. Have you ever seen a fighter make $300 million in one night? And that's the thing is, it sounds like he's trash talking, but it's like you telling me you're trash talking if you tell me you're holding an Apple computer right now.
Let's watch every stop of the tour, and I'll check in with you because yeah, I mean, I've been around Floyd a couple of times, a handful of times. You know, I mean, I've seen some press conferences, I've seen some fights, I've seen him in person a couple of times, but I don't pretend to know him or to know his temperament. There's certain people I can tell the moment they change. I can, oh, yeah, he got him right there. That's where he got him.
Yeah, I kind of felt that with Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Like, during the weigh-ins, I was wondering what was going on.
We were in Australia, the Holly Holm knockout. We were all like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
She got her.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on here? Why is she so mad?
Yeah. We'll see. All right, I'm excited about it. All right,
well, and plus, I think what you meant to say was John Kavanaugh when you said Jamie Kavanaugh.
Oh, I'm sorry, John Kavanaugh.
And also, it was
first.
Maybe
that was his cousin.
It was. I know. I was like, maybe there's somebody else. And
I'm
first,
sorry,
and
Coach.
it was.
I'm sorry.
And it was LL Cool J who first said, "I'm gonna knock you out." Mama said, "Knock you out." Let's all just be clear.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let's all be clear. I just had to clarify a couple things there. I had to clarify a couple things.
Good stuff, man. I think we're going to talk about this one or two more times. All right, let's talk about some other things that Dana White had to say. Asked him about the Diaz brothers. Will we see either one? He says Nick Diaz probably won't fight again. Right. We find out 24 hours after the interview that Nick Diaz has been given a possible anti-doping violation for missing the whereabouts test 3 times. 3 strikes and you're out. It counts as a violation. Let me just say now.
So is it a 24-month suspension?
Yes.
Okay.
So let me just say right now, Dana White absolutely knew that. When he said he had to have known.
I thought about that.
He knew.
But the way that he phrased it, unless he just did a really good job of talking about how he seemed to he seemed to think that Nick lost the desire. You know, he was in such a weird mood yesterday. I figured he would have teased it. I figured something else would have came up, but the way he delivered it, it didn't seem to me like
coincidence. I
think it was just could have been a purely
he was so
coincidence.
Matter of fact.
It makes sense that it wasn't coincidence. Like this dude, they know shit. You know, I mean, we'd be wrong to say that they don't know what the fuck's coming down the pipe, and that's why I think that whole Brock shit and all that stuff was complete BS.
Oh yeah, you were pissed off.
But just in watching his delivery yesterday, I didn't read anything. You know, I think you can see a person, you know, and unless they're really good at it, and I'm not saying Dana's not a good actor.
No, but you've been around him enough too.
I mean, I didn't read anything like he knew something else. It could just be purely coincidence. But who knows? It makes all the sense that he knew something was coming, but I didn't get any readings from what he sent like he knew something was coming down the pipe.
It's interesting.
And certainly not the next fucking day.
The timing's hilarious. But I want to ask you guys about this because I saw some people kind of getting up in arms and saying, I think it's bullshit that USADA is giving him. Because basically all the whereabouts means is that he wasn't keeping them informed of where he was. So they showed up and he wasn't there and he wasn't there for his test. I mean, the guy has basically said he's shown no interest in fighting whatsoever. So I saw some people up in arms.
Why are they still trying to fucking test him?
Well, that's the thing is because he hasn't officially – like it's literally just a paperwork thing. Like
because he's still under contract?
That's it. All you have to say is I'm retired, and you have to opt out of the testing program. If you opt out of the testing program, that means you can't fight, and then you have to go with that whole thing like GSP did where you have to come back and be tested for 4 months and all that. To me – this is just, I don't want to say a clerical error, you know what I mean? But it's basically like him. It's basically.
It just seems like they need to rewrite the law.
No,
they need to rewrite the rule. I mean.
I put it on Nick. You're putting it on USADA?
Well, I mean, I think the fact that, if a guy doesn't have any sort of contract or any plans of any fight, anything this year, why are we just going to waste resources to go test the dude? I mean, like maybe notify like if they end up.
Intentions can change in a second.
Well, true, but if he's going to intention, that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 months out. You know, then you know, hey, it seems to me like maybe USADA's got a huge bankroll. They could just send people all around to test people that aren't even actively training for a fight. That seems like a huge waste of money. And if a fighter doesn't want to retire because you're forcing them in a sense to make a written thing saying, all right, I'm walking away from the sport, but I'm not ready to do that.
Then you still got to follow the rules.
But, I mean, how is it in competition or worried about it if you have no fight scheduled?
So what if you just take a year off to just steroid the fuck up, and then you're like, oh, by the way.
Well, then you're going to have to test. You're going to steroid. But if you steroid for that year up and then you train for 3 or 4 months, people are going to look and see, oh, look at the decline. All right, something was going on here. And more than likely, if they've been steroiding for a year, you're going to fucking trigger it. You're going to you're going to fail a test.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why you start to submit to the test.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, but if you have no fights going on, why?
Look, here's the thing, right?
I mean,
steroid, no steroid, doesn't matter. Do you think Nick Diaz still wants to fight John?
I don't think.
Okay. You already said I don't think so.
Here's the thing is that it's the weirdest thing, but I think both him and Nate hate fighting.
Okay.
I think they hate it.
So does
How about
Donald
you,
Cerrone.
Ken? Do you believe?
I think he still wants to. I don't know if he wants to fight a lot, but he still wants to have the ability to fight.
But
I think if he was ready to walk away from it, and if he was done from it, he's had plenty of time to think about it. He would have made it official. I think he still has hopes that eventually maybe the culture will change, the rules will change a little bit, where the acceptance of marijuana and different things will be different.
I thought the marijuana is accepted already. 150, even in competition. 150 on your THC, you could pass it. I mean, you'd have
it's
to.
Better
really
now. It's changed.
Better.
It's changed. It's improving. It's definitely improving because they don't test out of competition anymore. In competition,
yeah, but you win a fight, you want to be able to spliff up right then, and right now you can't do that. If they change the rules.
So if Ken fights, he wants to smoke a joint real quick and
Nick,
be like,
if I get in there,
so if I'm your striking coach, I don't have to worry about holding pads. I just got to roll a zigzag.
Yeah. Exactly. When I go in there and get my ass whipped, when I walk out or get carried out on the stretcher, the first thing I want is a bottle of JMO next to a 12-pack of PBR next to some spliffs. There might even be a bong off to the side. And I don't even smoke weed, but if I decide to fight, I want to smoke some weed after.
I guess my thing is this: is that here's what I know is going to happen. Here's 100% what's going to happen. Fans are going to rip USADA for this whole thing. They're going to be like, this is a bullshit system, this is a bullshit system, this is a bullshit system.
Yeah.
Just like they did when he was suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. The NSAC went out of their way to try to go too far, 5 years. I think they went too far. But the thing was, he had tested positive 3 times in Nevada. And it's always been my thing, like, you can't complain about the way the system is set up after the fact. Like, if you don't believe I should be tested right now because I don't have a fight going on, then you should be campaigning about that. You should be trying to get that. It's not fair to complain about the rules after you violated them. If you think that's an issue, you got to do it before. And I love Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
I love Nick Diaz. Yeah. That dude is one of the best fighters of all time, one of the most marketable fighters of all time. Must watch TV every time, man.
Absolutely.
And I ain't got no problems with weed at all.
Yeah.
I would if
you love weed. John Morgan loves weed.
I'll just say it right there.
MMA Roadshow needs a cannabis sponsor.
I have no problem with it whatsoever. But rules is rules. Rules is rules.
Okay.
Rules is rules. But let's be real. I mean, you're right. We're very pro
everything.
Pro everything. And I mean, weed. Let's
everything.
be real. It's fucking weed. Like, relax. I mean.
You're saying the MMA Roadshow is the 50 Shades of Cannabis up in here?
I was not saying that. I'm not even sure what that means.
But I don't know.
It means anything goes, but all right.
I mean, this is the same organization that can't provide test results within any sort of a reasonable range, and then we want to trust them that they have the best interest of the sport when they're testing guys that aren't in any active competition, and then they want to hold them to these certain standards. I don't know. I guess I believe it. Once there's rules in place, yeah, you got to follow by the rules, but I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. The dude hasn't had a fight in years, and you want to still kind of hold him against it. The dude's smoking weed. Who gives a fuck? When he's getting time to fight,
he's not even being
and
tested
it's like
for
6
weed.
months.
He's not even being tested for weed.
I don't think he's really doing anything else.
He just didn't show up.
But that's all they're going to test him for. He ain't taking nothing
He's
else.
not taking steroids.
Like, that's just fucking ridiculous.
Not at all.
The only thing in that dude's system is a bunch of fucking THC and a little bit of blood, a little bit of plasma, and some other stuff that makes that all
Maybe
stuff
some
work.
margaritas, guys. Maybe some margaritas.
Yeah, I have seen the parties, the pool parties.
Maybe I'm just salty on the way the USADA does shit. I think it's just it's
been salty.
It's a very ineffective. I guess that they have rules, but it's very ineffective for the fact of them. Here they are again, just like what Nevada did, coming in here and making a decision to hurt a guy's ability to make a living for himself on something that really isn't fucking bad. Yeah, the dude didn't show up. Who gives a fuck? He's not fighting right now. It's ridiculous. So that's that.
You're wrong.
I know.
All right. right, let's talk about George St. Pierre.
Okay.
We got an
I like
interesting
this
update.
one.
We got an interesting update. All right, so Dana says he talked to GSP.
Yep.
GSP is going to come back, as he
And
said, in the fall.
fight the winner.
He's going to face the winner of Woodley Maia.
I love it.
Meanwhile, he says Michael Bisping is definitely going to face the winner of Romero and Whitaker.
I love it.
Which all makes sense.
Dana White's putting his foot down. I love it.
I love it. It makes sense. And then
Dana White's looking for some real fights.
And then Ariel Helwani comes out today and says that, I spoke to George St. Pierre.
Okay.
And George says he still plans on fighting Michael Bisping, despite reports you may have seen out there.
Okay, can I ask you this
Dana White
question?
saying
Because you both were right there in front of Dana White,
Right.
looking at him in the eyes. I don't understand how a fighter can say stuff like that when you just saw Dana go, "Oh, you want to fight Ray Borg? Well, then guess what, G? You're going to fight Ray Borg because that's what you wanted." But that's what I'm saying is he's the boss. He makes the fights.
Well, that's what's weird about this. So, I mean, there's kind of some precedent, right? I mean, they announced Bisping versus GSP, and they're like, and we're going to do it in summer. And GSP's like, nah, we're going to do it in the fall.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're going to do it this summer. Nah, we're going to do it in the fall. And what do you know? It doesn't happen in the summer.
Right.
He knew all along he wasn't going to be back to the fall. So it's not as if Dana White has ever, said some stuff with some optimism. In fact, I'll say that he actually said in our interview Cody Garbrandt would be back in October.
Cool.
And Mike Bond followed up with Cody Garbrandt, and Cody Garbrandt was like, I'm thinking more like November. so,
Well, I mean,
I'm not going to say he speaks out of turn sometimes.
No. But, I mean, that's, October, 1 week difference isn't the same as.
But I do wonder how GSP can be telling Ariel Helwani, no, I'm planning on fighting Michael Bisping, when Dana White is saying, no, GSP is going to fight for the 170 title, Michael Bisping is going to fight for the 185 title, which, just let me say, is the absolute right thing to do.
Yes.
The former welterweight champion should be fighting for the welterweight title, and
agree.
the middleweight champion should be fighting the interim middleweight champion.
100% agree.
So I got to say, love me some GSP, but if he keeps fighting for this Bisping fight, who cares?
Who cares? And I actually think this is what's happening. When these fighters are saying that stuff and they're being advised by their advisors or managers, look, you got to let the fights play out. Okay, you got to for example, on the Robert Whitaker Romero fight,
right.
We were talking about it with George in studio at the CageSiders.com.
And George, you mean
George
gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gorgeous
Junkie
George, right?
Radio.
And I picked Whitaker. And the reason why I picked Whitaker is because I picked against Whitaker with Jacare, thinking, oh, man, Jacare ground.
You weren't the only person.
You weren't the only one there.
Okay,
yeah.
all right, okay. He knocks him out, and I'm like, that's it. I'm not picking against Whitaker anymore. Whitaker's got power.
That's Romero.
Not going to do it. So that's what I'm saying, right?
That's
so let's
Romero,
say.
though.
And it's not just Yoel in there.
Yeah.
Bro, he's got Jesus
Jesus
with
on
him.
his side.
Okay, all right.
He is a soldier of God,
Let's
by the way.
say, guys, Whitaker goes in there. Boom! Knocks him out. Didn't they just announce something about UFC New Zealand or UFC?
They will be in November. They'll be in Australia.
And that's what I'm saying. Boom! Robert Whitaker versus Michael Bisping right there. Bam! Bam, son!
It makes sense.
See?
You're right. I mean, I think you're wrong in your fight pick because Yoel Romero's going to win. But I will say this: I think I've picked against Robert Whitaker about 6 times in a row now, and he's won every fight. So the guy keeps so. But yeah, the whole thing to me is I think GSP, if he's coming back in the fall, that's fine. But it should absolutely be at 170 pounds, not 185. I mean,
right.
It didn't even make sense the first time. But you're like, oh well, hell, there's people are injured, there's fights that still need to happen. Like, cool, let's just do this and move on.
Can I ask you a question?
Not now.
Let's say Damian Maia, Tyron Woodley ends. Neither fighter gets hurt. Whoever wins doesn't matter. Woodley, Maia, whatever. And they can be ready for the September show for Edmonton. You don't think GSP versus that person would be a good thing for GSP money-wise?
It would be.
You see what I'm saying?
It would
Money drives the boat, baby. It's about the money.
They'd love to have him fighting in Canada.
Heck yeah, they
seems
would.
like a weird card to put him on, but they love it.
Heck yeah, and wouldn't it be smarter for WME/Dana White to go ahead and let a Robert Whitaker versus Michael Bisping fight happen in Australia?
It would be solid.
See what I'm saying? They're learning from boxing. They're understanding.
No more cider for Angelo.
I know. Well, he's only got like another inch further down from when he did that last one. It's got to be
lightweight.
That is like some
lightweight,
warm
son.
apple stuff right there,
All
or
right.
something.
You mentioned about the Demetrius Johnson and Ray Borg stuff. Obviously, this has been a huge one as well. People have been going back and forth on this one. Cold Coffee, I guess you're behind the camera at the time. I mean, it's kind of funny. You're a former UFC employee. This guy was your boss at one point in time. You're there filming him. This was the
He still didn't remember my name.
He was like, how you doing?
Hey, guy.
buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, hey, buddy.
But let me ask you about this because this was the one part where I feel like of the interview where he really kind of dove the most into.
Oh, we were talking about the bathrooms in the offices.
Well, that part you got it. That was good too. No.
Okay. I want to hear about this.
That won't make
Was
it in.
cool?
That won't make it in the interview. No,
Won't
it's
make it
just
in the
funny. It's an inside story with like the way that the building was designed. They had all these plans to put all these fancy bathrooms and all the executives and all the higher ups things. And then from what we kind of gathered or whatever, when IMG came in and looked at the plans, like, that's stupid. Get rid of this. There's only 2 rooms that have bathrooms. And correct me wrong, Dana and Ari.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, all the executives.
So if we need to go to the bathroom, we got to go to.
Well, no,
they're outside. They're
all going to have private.
It's not like they got an
bathrooms in their
outhouse.
office.
They're going to have them in their office. Like, they don't want you to even mingle with the minions.
So you're telling me Forrest Griffin doesn't even get a room, and he doesn't get a bathroom in his
He's got the
office?
Performance Institute.
He's got the Performance Institute.
Okay,
Like,
But let's talk about Demetrius Johnson.
Okay,
Enough about
I'm
the
sorry.
bathrooms.
I'm sorry.
Demetrius Johnson.
but the bathrooms, that was important talk.
Dana
That's how we
made it
started.
clear.
That's how we loosened it up.
Dana made it.
Or loosened him up. Not like a bad stool
Yeah.
that was stuck in there.
Jeez, now somebody's going to say Justine Kish, and then we're just going to.
Oh, my God.
Wait,
All right.
that was you.
No,
You
I
did
didn't
that.
say it. I was, anticipating what was going to happen. All right, guys, give me your feelings on this because obviously, I mean, this was one of those situations where, again, Dana, kind of like we said, Conor doesn't do anything by accident. Dana doesn't do anything by accident either, right? He doesn't, like, it's not like you catch him saying something where he's like, oh, all of a sudden I just got emotional. Like, he knows the camera's on. He knows you're there to do an interview. And he's going to make a strategy, you know what I mean, a strategical move into why he decides to rip on Demetrius Johnson. He was definitely emotional about it, as you said earlier, kind of people that you can judge. And, he was definitely sincere in his anger here. This was not just like him, throwing out some company line. He was obviously frustrated. I kind of feel bad for Ray Borg because Ray's a good dude that wants a title shot, and he kind of caught some shrapnel here because it's like, well, if you want to fight Ray Borg, you fight Ray Borg. I mean, and he was like, nothing against Ray Borg, but, you're still kind of shitting on Ray Borg a little bit. But he's not wrong. Everything that Dana said is right. I mean, if you're like, hey, bro, listen, man, I need $50 from you, okay? You gave me $50, cool. Now, listen, you get to pick. Does Demetrius fight TJ Dillashaw? Or does Demetrius fight Ray Borg, knowing that you've already spent your $50? Which fight do you want to see?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to see the Dillashaw fight, right? So I mean, everything that Dana said is right.
Yeah.
But it is weird to I don't know. It's a weird situation because I've heard so many versions. We've seen what Demetrius has said online.
And
I've
Dana was
spoken to some
very
people.
adamant with like 90% of that was a lie.
Right. And
Here's exactly what I said.
And I've heard some stuff behind the scenes from people
Right.
that say, hey, man, it's what he said is not exactly accurate. There's some difference in here. I think we had talked about it briefly before. I mean, there's some things that, he wants pay-per-view points, even though his contract doesn't have pay-per-view points, even though that's what he asked his contract to be. So it's a weird situation because it sucks because I love Demetrius Johnson as a person. He's awesome. And as
he's
a
amazing.
fighter, listen. I think he's the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet.
It's hard to argue it.
So I don't know. When you guys saw this whole thing unfold, you saw it live, you saw it on camera later. What did you guys think about the whole thing?
My first question was, I was going to ask you guys this because I don't know. Does Demetrius Johnson manage himself, or does he have a manager?
That is a fantastic question.
I don't think he has a manager. I think he does it on. I think he does it.
This
It
is-
makes sense that he would have people that help out.
Right? Basically,
Okay, so it's Matt. Okay, so this is what I'm
I
saying.
think Matt
Coach
Hume-
manager.
Yeah, I think
So-
coach manager type
So this
sort
is
of
what
thing.
I mean about how fighters are going to be emotional.
Of course.
Promoters are going to be emotional. I'm used to this. Worked with Bob Arum before. Like I'm just saying to you guys.
Sure.
All right? So that's why you have the manager.
It's the reason why you have to have a
Because
manager.
then the promoter's going to say to the manager, you tell that effing guy he effing has to do this. Then the manager
he
says
said
that
he would strongly prefer if you would.
yeah,
you do. You need
exactly.
somebody to filter.
And so I think that this blew up mainly because of that. And I'm not faulting either one because I went on record on our show and I said, no, I mean, I pay the man. I believe Demetrius Johnson needs to get paid. This is where I start to agree with Dana just a little bit, all right? So, guys, please don't hate me for saying this. If Floyd Mayweather was challenged by the TJ Dillashaw version of boxing, and Floyd knew that's the most money I can make, Floyd would say yes.
I agree.
And this is where everybody thinks, oh, Floyd ducks people. No, he doesn't. If he would have fought Pacquiao during the time he did fight Pacquiao, he wouldn't have made the money that he made. He made the money that he made because it marinated itself. All Dana did here was, in his head, go, well, fuck, man. We got to make a lot of money for these pay-per-views. And no one wants to fucking see Ray Borg versus Demetrius Johnson. But every motherfucker, at least that I talk to, will get a little bit interested if I take the former 135 champion, move his ass down to 125, create a story about that, and put that on a pay-per-view.
I agree. And the thing to me is that, and this is where I honestly believe Demetrius Johnson did himself a little bit of a disservice.
Yep.
Is that had Demetrius just said, because I think there's a very real argument to say, listen, I've never seen TJ at 125. I'm not sure he's going to make 125. I don't have time in my life to mess around, and I'm trying to set this title defense record, and I don't have time to mess around and have him show up at 127, and I don't get my title defense record. You know what I mean? And those would all be fair arguments. But as soon as you start talking about the money aspect of it and the mistreatment aspect of it and all this, and I'm not saying you're not right. I'm not saying your gripes aren't right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the general public will pay more for the Dillashaw fight than they would pay for the Borg fight.
100%.
So I mean, I'm not going to say the UFC is right in everything they do. They do a lot of things where you're like, come on, man. But I agree with you. I know nobody ever likes to say I agree with Dana White, but I kind of agreed with what he's saying there.
Yes.
Like, dude, we offered you this fight, and I know that Demetrius has laid out a lot of scenarios of, well, we said we would take it, but then it was this and then it was that. I mean, I get it. But, dude, if it's a principle thing or like a goal thing where you're like, dude, I need to fight for the title in my next one. I need to guarantee myself I have a chance to break that record, and I'm not willing to risk it against a guy that I'm worried won't make 125. That's a good argument. To me, that's a great argument.
Can I give you this counter argument to that? Did we not just say, even talking about Mayweather-McGregor, that anything can happen? So what if you fucking lose to Ray Borg because you got injured that night? And you made less money when you could have fought TJ Dillashaw, got the same injury, and made more money?
Yep.
I'm just throwing it out there. Throwing it out there.
I do want to say this. Dana said, look, we weren't trying to, give a snap judgment about, getting rid of the division. Demetrius has said that. I will say this. We've been working on this for a while, and we can't get anybody to go on record with it. But Steven Morocco was able to confirm with a couple different people that the UFC did shop the flyweight division. They did.
They really did. Like 2 years ago.
They did.
See?
They did say, guys,
they were thinking about it.
More recently than that.
Oh, more recently.
That they asked some people if, and this is according to sources, I have not been able to confirm this with anybody in the UFC.
Okay.
But I've heard Steven Morocco, and I was kind of working with him a little bit, but was able to confirm that there were conversations out there about, hey, if we were to offer up the flyweight division,
how much would you take it?
Exactly. Would you be interested in buying it? So
did you find out who they were offering it to?
An Asian gentleman, perhaps?
Different.
A Bay Area Asian gentleman, perhaps?
Not really hairy Asian, because most of us don't get hairy.
A couple different people. So I will say that. Now, again, Dana said, look, I didn't say we'd shut the division. But I will say
there were talks.
There were at least conversations about it.
That's what I'm saying. And again, man, Dana's a businessman. And remember, he has a boss now, too. This isn't the Lorenzo Fertitta
Gotta make money. Gotta make money.
Yeah, you gotta make money.
All right, we got it's getting long in the night.
This has been really long, and I gotta call Agent H and do some tech work while we take a break.
We got we're gonna take a quick break then.
Or why are we gonna roll into something? Or are we rapping?
I kind of gotta pee.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Break.
got to call her because this
gotta take a
typing
break.
shit is for the birds.
All right, well, listen, there's lots of things going on, lots of things need to happen. So while we do that and handle all those, including refilling frosty beverages,
Yes.
including reaching out to Asian H, including doing some check work, including you drinking some water or a cup of coffee or
I know.
something over there.
You aren't even drinking over here. Why'd you come to Thirsty Thursday?
While we do that, why don't we throw out some audio of Cold Coffee doing interviews, son. Rolling solo. Why don't we hear from, what do you think, Justin Gaethje, Michael Johnson, both?
Let's cue the viewers. Who do you guys want to listen to?
Wait, how would we know?
Oh, that means nobody. They don't want to listen to either one.
All right, well, I
That's
say
right.
let's hear at least. Now let's hear both. They're short. Justin Gaethje and Michael Johnson.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
You said they were
Back-to-back
sniffing at
interviews
each other.
with the Tough 25 finale headliners,
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje and Michael Johnson. This is budding interview superstar Cold Coffee.
All right, how excited are you? This anticipation that you must have for your UFC debut?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest factor is the anticipation, being able to control your emotions for, I knew 10 or 12 weeks ago that I was going to have this fight. So, I had many days, many hours, thousands of minutes to get ready for these 25 minutes, and I've been taking advantage of every single one of those.
Was it inevitable, the switch over to the UFC? Was this something that you were already planning? Was it maybe in line with the fact that the way that the changes that the WSOF was doing, or was it just a matter of you felt it was right for you to make the switch over to the UFC?
Yeah, I mean, I was never a free agent so I never even got, was ever able to talk to the UFC or anybody, but, I was stating that I was the best in the world at lightweight, and I felt like a coward every time I said it because I wasn't in a position to fight the best in the world. So this was I started this path when I was 4 years old, and I didn't know it was going to lead me here, but, hindsight, I was always headed here.
Is there any extra pressure coming in being a champ in another organization? Are you feeling that there's more eyes on you, more people possibly trying to say, oh, is he legit? Yeah,
of course, but, I don't ever really if you're sitting behind a keyboard and you've never done this, then, your opinion holds very little weight with me. So, I'm here to prove to myself, and I'm here to prove the people that have always believed in me right. I'm going to prove them right. I'm going to prove them, win or lose, my effort's going to be, my effort will be there.
Nice work.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yours as well. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, this is the path I was destined to be on. I couldn't tell when I was 4, but right now, there's nowhere else I could possibly be.
And you've been on the big stage. I know a lot of people, when they're coming into UFC fights, a lot of people say, oh, they're going to have octagon genders and things of that sort. Do you anticipate any sort of something different, or is it just going to be another event for you?
I've laid in bed and I've walked to that cage many times now. I've been in the back, in my head working out and waiting for this fight. So I think it might get to me, but once the bell, there's something special about the way I fight. Like, I black out. When that bell rings, and I literally, it's over for me. Like, I don't know where I'm at. I'm in here, but it's total reaction. So I know that I will have no problem going to that place when the bell rings.
Let's talk a little bit about your opponent and maybe the presser. Were you surprised that whole presser, some of the words that he started coming out and just kind of jumping on you from the gun? Were you a little surprised by that?
Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, he obviously wants to, he's trying to give himself a little confidence because, calling me a C-League fighter, the more he talks, the bigger of an ass he's going to look like because, unless he gets lucky and knocks me out in the first 1 or 2 minutes, then, he knows that he's, I'm going to make him wilt. He's going to sit there and wilt under my pressure.
Where's he dangerous? What are you expecting him to do in there? Do you think it's just going to be a striking match? What are you thinking?
The thing about Michael Johnson, when he's the hammer, he doesn't quit. But when he's the nail, he tends to not. He has 11 losses, 7 submissions, 4 decisions. 4 times he's been outworked. I've never been outworked. Not in wrestling. I lost, but I wasn't outworked. He's lost by 7 decisions. That means, I would say 3 or 4 of those he quit. You don't get submitted 7 times. You get submitted, you get caught once or twice, maybe 3 times. But he has been fighting the best in the world. I'll give him that. But quitter's a quitter, and he's a quitter, and I'm making quit.
You said you've been laying in bed thinking about this fight a lot. When you go into your head and you think about how this fight's how it's gonna play out on the night of the fight, how do you see this fight ending?
So everything that's gone on in my head is all the way up until I get in the cage and Bruce Buffer announces my name. After that, Like I said, I have no game plan. I never have had a game plan. I've said it before, my timing and attitude is the definition of this sport. It's why I'm successful, and I'll never change.
And then lastly for me, you know, this is your debut, you're coming in, you know, and most people, you know, you can't call your shots or whatever, but beyond Michael Johnson, I know most people won't look past their opponent.
No,
what do you see for yourself? I mean, are there people in line that you've been waiting, that you've been chomping at the bit? I mean, what do you see the next step after Johnson?
I feel like I cannot say a word about any of that until I go in there and prove myself. To myself, to the UFC fans, to the MMA community. So I'm so focused on Michael Johnson, but you know, I got to go out there and get that win, and then you know, the sky's the limit after that. Well, speaking of the presser, the words at the presser, you know, you guys kind of going at it right from the get-go, kind of seemed a little bit out of character. You know, what was it about him that brought it out, or is it just a matter of, you know, now in a day and age where people kind of tend to talk more than I think what they used to because they're selling things up? You know, what was it that set off that whole thing at the presser?
You know, nothing really set it off. It's just myself now. I'm starting to release more of Michael Johnson out. You know, I think I've kind of played the good guy / company role. He's not going to really, you know, start too much shit. But now, you know, I just did it to kind of get under his skin a little bit and show my personality a little bit more. That was it. And I just wanted to see how he would react. And he did exactly what we thought he was going to do.
So do you kind of relish the role of being the bad guy to his debut to the UFC? You know, I think a lot of people, you know, have been seeing this guy and have been hyping up, you know, and now they're throwing him to you. Does that put any extra pressure, make it more exciting on you to give him a rude welcome to the UFC?
You know, it's not so much of a pressure for me. It's more of I feel like I'm being tested. You know, I feel like they looked at the top 10. I was like, you know what? We want Michael Johnson. He's the easiest guy in there to fight. So, you know, I feel kind of, you know, tested, just like I said. So, you know, that's my motivation. That's where everything is coming from. It's his first fight in the UFC. I don't need to do anything to make him nervous. He's nervous enough already. You know, I could tell from the press conference. I could tell from today. You know, you can see in somebody's eyes when they're nervous.
Did he ask for you, or is this did the UFC set up and thought that you would make a nice, tough matchup for him?
You know, I have no idea, man. I saw him put a tweet out that said, you know, he wanted a few other guys, and my name was included. And then out of nowhere, you know, the UFC called us, and, you know, they offered him to me. So, of course, I'm going to say yes. You know, a main event slot, a guy that's undefeated. He's a former champion coming into the division with a lot of hype around him. And leave it up to Michael Johnson to be the guy to stop a hype train.
What's got to be nice for you for the UFC to feel that they're backing you, to give you a main event in such a big event. How excited are you of that to be back main eventing?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. Again, second one in 3 fights. You know, it's coming after a loss, so that means a lot for me. You know, that means they still have their faith in me. I just need to come and perform, and that's it.
Have you seen much of his work in the other organizations, and what are your initial thoughts on him?
Yeah, I've seen, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I love watching guys that go in there and fight, you know, so he's one of the guys that has done that throughout his career. So, yes, I have watched his fights. I enjoy watching him. He's fought in a few of my teammates, so I've had to help them prepare to get ready for Justin. So I'm very familiar with him. I'm very familiar with his style, and it's sloppy. You know, he knows it's sloppy. Everybody knows it's sloppy, and we're going to take advantage of that.
Do you think he's faced anybody along the lines of the level of what he's going to run into in the UFC, and has he ever fought anybody like you?
Yeah, absolutely not. You know, he has fought nobody near my talent, you know, my skills. He fought nobody as fast as me. And I would even say experience-wise, you know, I mean, he's fought in guys that have fought everywhere around the world, that have been in promotions, that have been champions, but, you know, he's fought them at the end of their ropes. I fought the best of the best, you know, in the middle of their prime. I've lost to some, I've beaten some, so he's been around the corner, but I have as well, and my competition blows his out of the water.
Where do you see him dangerous? Are there any things that you've kind of been working to camp, like, all right, we need to watch for this, we need to watch for this? What sort of things you've been keying in on him?
Yeah, I've just keyed in on his big punches. You know, I mean, he throws looping punches, and that's what you have to watch out for. So as long as I keep my feet moving in and out, keep him guessing, you know, we'll be good. You know, this fight's going to get into a scrambling match. You know, I guarantee it.
So at the end of the night, I'm sure you've thought of this fight over and over. How do you see it getting done at the end of the night?
Yeah, I see myself frustrating him and him making a mistake. You know, leaving himself open, and that's where I'm going to capitalize.
Is he going to be able to handle the speed of you?
I don't think so. Has anybody been able to handle the speed of me in the UFC? You know, Nate did a very good job of it, you know, because he was very long. But once again, that's only Nate Diaz. You know, Khabib did a good job of it, but once again, that's only Khabib. Justin is neither one of those guys, so, you know, he's going to have a very hard time.
But he is a former champion. You are main eventing, so with a win here, what's next for you? Who makes sense after this?
Like I was saying previous, we don't have a champ in this division. You know, once Conor signed that fight to go box, you know, to me, he vacated the title, you know, and that's how it should be. So I've beaten 2 of the top guys up there. You know, I want to make a strong case for, you know, fighting for a title or interim title, you know, so I think that's in my future.
Seems like you have a pretty good breakdown of guys' skill sets, you know, and it's hard to not, and I'm sure people talk about it so much, the Mayweather versus McGregor fight. Does he have a chance? Is it a matter of the MMA guys or rooting for MMA guys? I mean, how's this one playing out in your mind?
Floyd has a chance. Conor has a chance. You know, they both got a chance. Formerly me, I don't care. You know, I don't care about the fight at all. It's a money fight. They're going to go in there and make a shitload of money, and that's good for them. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm only worried about Michael Johnson and what I need to do to, you know, succeed.
Welcome back to the MMA Roadshow. That was interviewer extraordinaire, Cold
Don't
Coffee.
judge me.
Just throwing down. Rolling solo. Not going to lie. Hey,
It sucks.
it was good. Let's get some feedback. People tell him how he did.
No. Y'all shut up.
All right. Couple more things I want to talk about real quick. Dana White did kind of talk about the Chris Cyborg situation a little bit. First of all, sucks that Megan Anderson's out and wanted to see that fight.
Yeah.
Happy that Tanya Evinger is in the UFC.
Hopefully.
Sucks that she – well, yeah, anything can happen between then and now. Sucks that it has to be against Chris Cyborg because that's a tough fight. But Evinger – man,
she's a warrior.
Oh,
dude.
Man, she's been through everything, done everything. She's been around forever.
She'll make a show out of it.
I didn't think
it
made
even
any sense.
Cyborg.
You never know. I didn't even think it made any sense that she wasn't in the UFC, so I'm glad. Now, I did love this quote from Dana, where I said, "Hey, did you think about closing up the division? I mean, this has been such a clusterfuck from the beginning. Did you think about closing it up?" He said, "No. Listen." We signed Cyborg. We made a commitment to Cyborg, and not everything is easy, and not everything is as fun as other divisions or whatever, but we made a commitment to this woman, and she's had a rough go here in the UFC. She hasn't been thrilled with things that have been said, things that have been done, and to be honest with you, we've made some mistakes when it comes to Cyborg, so the least we can do is get our shit together and get this woman to fight for the title.
I was like, I didn't realize you were reading the transcript. I was like, dude, how the fuck do you remember that? I was like, that sounds exactly how he phrased it.
Yeah, I had a little transcript here.
I did like the
fact
that
the young Mike Bond went in and transcribed a lot of it, and I stole some of it.
I liked how he admitted that they made mistakes. I did think it was pretty funny how he's like, we've said some things. I'm like, no, Dana, you said those things. Nobody else in the organization said them. You said them. But I thought it was very nice how he kind of, spread that blame out.
Right?
He spread that blame out. But I love the fact that he said that they made mistakes, and they have made mistakes, and they're working to rectify that. I mean, they brought her over for a reason, and
look, at the end of the day, man, Cyborg's one of the most exciting figures in the sport.
No question.
We don't have Ronda right now, and if fucking Cyborg gets a knockout and wins the featherweight belt, dude, I'm like, superstar!
Right.
Yes!
If
Cyborg!
she gets a knockout.
I agree.
That's all she gets is knockout.
And I'll tell you what, I mean, Jermaine Darandami for not wanting to fight her, like, I kind of get her.
I don't get it at all.
That's it. I
don't get it.
If you
got
come
the
to
belt,
145.
you're telling me you got the belt and then you're going to punk out and leave it? And no. First of all, I said this on record, too. I thought Holly Holm beat her anyways. That's number one. Number two, I thought Holly Holm did get cheated in that fight and got hit after the bell, so not fair. That's why
I scored the fight for Jermaine, but you're definitely right about it.
No, but when I got asked, is this the return of Holly Holm? I'm like, I never thought Holly Holm fucking left. Right. I thought she got choked out by Misha, a fight that she was winning. Mm-hmm. I could have argued that she won the Shevchenko fight. And I thought she got cheated against Jermaine Durandamine, so I'm a big Holly Holm guy. I like her, and I'm like, F you, and F you, Jermaine Durandamine, for not doing what you're supposed to do. Just because I don't like that, man. I don't like that. The UFC is the greatest promotional group right now, and you're a woman. And then, see, this is what pisses me off.
She is a woman.
This is what pisses
factual.
me off. All right.
Factual.
Look, I'm gonna throw it out there with my 1.5 cider.
Are you really on your
Okay.
half? Is that not the first one?
Okay.
Is that the
Look,
first? I think that's the first one.
That's the second
This
one.
Is it the second one?
But
this is my
it's apparently the
soapbox about
strongest cider on the planet.
This
Apparently,
is my soapbox about
we
this.
need to be drinking cider here.
I know, right?
If the UFC did not create that division, how is Jermaine Durand making her money?
She wouldn't be.
Exactly. Now, here's what really pisses me off. Bitch, you just got the belt. You're the champ. You could tour Europe right now and be like, I'm the champ, bitches. I'm the champ. And Cyborg's the baddest woman on the planet. And you know what we hate in boxing? When you're the champ and you get a chance to make the most money you can make and fight the person you're supposed to fight. Then you bitch out? Oh, no. Nope. Nope.
All we need is the
Oh,
snaps now. All we
yes,
need is the
snaps.
snaps. Where are the snaps?
No,
Where are the snaps?
that's wrong.
Ah.
So no, love Dana White for backing Cyborg now. Love Holly Holm that she knocked out Betch Correa, and I hope Cyborg gets a huge knockout, and then we get to see headline pay-per-view before the year's over. Holly Holm challenges Chris Cyborg for the belt.
Wow.
That would make. I'm paying that money.
That'd
I'm
be
paying
strong.
$60.
All right, well, I wanted to ask you something here, and since we're talking about Cyborg, speaking of footage of boxing, we saw the sparring footage with
Clarissa Shields.
Cyborg and Clarissa Shields. I guess for people that don't know about Clarissa Shields,
Two-time gold medalist.
exactly,
60
legit,
wins,
legit.
only one lost in the amateurs. Legit.
What did you get out of that? Because it's weird. I mean, it's a cross sport,
They're
sparring session. You know
They're
what I mean?
sparring, and we didn't know which round that was. I thought it was great that both of them were willing to help each other. I thought it was
And
great.
you don't know who's working on what.
And you don't know what game plan is.
Exactly, right?
being
Like,
worked
you could
on.
have somebody saying, well, what I want to do is really work on my defense here.
Yeah.
What I really want to do is work,
Yeah, like, how people were blowing up about, TJ Dillashaw is part of Lomachenko. Look, man, no disrespect to TJ because I love him. I think he's an awesome fighter. I'm a big TJ Dillashaw fan. Dude, Lomachenko wasn't even trying.
Bro, Lomachenko's
He wasn't
a
even
beast.
trying, man.
He's so good.
I've been in boxing gyms where I know when the boxer, and I won't mention the name, but when boxers
Is it world champion?
It might be. It might be a female. It might not
I
be.
won't mention it, but I've seen
Let me
it
just
before
say
where
she's
they-
a female Filipino
yeah,
world champion. That's all I'm going to say.
All I'm saying
It's
is
the
I've
only
seen it
hint I'm
before.
gonna give you.
I've seen it before. I've seen, people like Jalen Lil do this too, where he just kind of carries them to help them
Right.
out. Hey, I'm just helping you out, John. Just helping you out. That's all I saw in the Dillashaw Lomachenko fight. Anything more than that, you're lying. Because
So-
I know that if Lomachenko turns it up.
Oh,
the
Lomachenko's the best, dude. He's
so
amazing.
if Clarissa Shields was, let's say, just kind of helping her out, showing her what a 1-2 look looks like, I don't know, then I thought that was awesome because, A, here's what everybody needs to understand. As big as Cyborg is, I'm talking physically,
Yeah.
Yep.
in MMA, Clarissa Shields is effing huge, dude. She's
Yeah.
the 165 mandatory belt contender right now. She's not a world champion yet.
Yeah.
She's about to fight for the world championship in her fourth fight at 165 pounds.
Beast.
Cyborg cuts to 145. So Clarissa's bigger than her anyways.
Yep.
She's
Okay?
bigger, but Cyborg's all muscle.
Oh, that's true.
Like,
but so is
I mean,
Clarissa.
like,
Clarissa's a
Clarissa's
beast.
tough. She's
Clarissa's,
tough. When you saw them side
yes.
by side,
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
no.
like, wow,
Clarissa's
who is this
in great
beast?
shape, man. She's
Yeah.
young. She's big, but again, so that's
Yeah.
not fair. Like, don't judge that. They're wearing bigger gloves. Don't judge that either. They're wearing headgear. Don't judge that either. And they're in a boxing ring. Cyborg is an 8-panel, 8 sides type of fighter.
Right.
Clarissa is a 4-panel, 4 sides type of fighter. That's, come on, man. Don't make it out for more than what it is. What I really liked about the two is that they expressed their respect for each other. They expressed their respect for each other's sport. And Clarissa gave her props to Cyborg. In fact, Cyborg even started showing her some jiu-jitsu, which kind of warmed my heart a little
Dang
bit.
it.
I was like, that's dope, man. That's really cool. Not that I could ever see Clarissa going into MMA because
Of course.
Dana hasn't even created the 160
Yeah.
women's division. I mean, for crying out loud, he's working on 145 and 125 right now.
Barely
So,
figured out 145.
but no, I thought it was awesome.
All right.
I thought it was great.
I dig it. All right, last thing I have, since we're running long, this will be the longest show ever, I'm sure. And even though we had a half-hour date in there. That's a lot to talk about. So
You're telling
yeah.
me you didn't have fun? Come on,
When?
Cold Coffee. You didn't have fun in the longest
Like
MMA
right now?
roadshow ever.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Bitter son of a bitch. All right, the last thing I want to talk to you about is let's talk about Dana himself. Dana said it on a couple different occasions there. Listen, I know what people are saying. I know people say I'm out. I know people say I'm not long for this sport, but I'm telling you, I'm in it. I love the quote where he said, listen, to paraphrase, basically, I have the best job in the world. I come in to make fights every day. I go travel. I go stay in a nice hotel. I eat good food. I sit first row at the fights. Like, what the hell else would I want to do? And when he says it like that, and I'll be honest with you, and I've always been one that, and I know everybody says as soon as he made the money, I know everybody said Dana's out, Dana's out, Dana's out. And I said from the very beginning, so maybe I'm looking at this with the wrongs. I'm not sifting through his words deep enough, because I've always believed, just knowing Dana the way that I do, I do know he loves this shit, dude. Yeah. He loves this shit. I mean, loves talking about fights, loves the sport. Yeah, it has to deal with all the bullshit that comes along with it, but loves it. So I've always been in the mindset, like, this dude ain't going nowhere, dude. Like, there's literally nothing else on earth. The Fertittas, they got other interests. They got casinos.
They're about to get some Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah,
interest.
They might buy a football team. I mean, they got other things going on. Like, I don't think Dana gives two shits about anything other than fighting, and that's it. And so I've always felt he's sticking around. What you guys, I mean, obviously, again, you heard it live, Cold Coffee. You're checking it out, Angelo. What do you think? Because I know most everybody thinks he's out. I don't think he's out. I think Dana's around for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think he's sticking around too, because I do believe that. Remember, the Dana White came up from the bottom. Mm-hmm. He was like sitting there trying to.
He started from the bottom, and now he's up.
He was coaching. Hey, look, man, I love Dana White. I think. Say what you want to say. The promoter's job is a very hard job. Yeah. And
he's done some shit. You can't. I mean, it's not like you can say I like somebody and everything he's ever done is perfect.
Yes,
he's done some shit that you're like, come on, bro.
Judge him on the greater whole of everything that he's done, right? UFC wouldn't be where it's at right now if it wasn't for all the passion that Dana White puts into it.
I agree.
And because he puts so much passion in it, come on,
Thank
guys.
you, Tammy.
Why would you leave? I mean, other than death, I can't really see him leaving.
I mean, other than the fact that you don't need to work anymore. But I just honestly think,
my
dad retired early and then went back to work a few years later because he's like, I'm bored as hell, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bored.
Yeah.
No, I mean, he doesn't give me any impression that he's leaving anytime soon. I mean, he's got looking for the fight. He's got his fight series.
He just did the contender.
He teased about how he's got some new thing, how they're going to redefine the sport next year. I mean, I think he's enjoying.
Mark my words right now. Remember how I always tell you guys, every time we do the show together, something happens. We called it when we all said Hendo versus Bisping was going to happen. Happened. We were in the show. We said McGregor versus Mayweather. Going to happen. Mark my words, on this MMA Roadshow episode, what is it?
118.
118, Dana White will be a boxing promoter.
What?
He will still be the UFC guy,
Mm-hmm.
but he will somehow get a promoter's license to also start promoting boxing at some point because he fucking loves this shit. He loves it. So you got money, dog. You ain't got to worry about that. You just got your license. Remember, everybody doesn't realize this, or I don't know, maybe they do. Contender Series is a Dana White promotion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's DW Promotions, right? Al
D-dubs.
Heyman. Yeah, it's like Al Heyman style.
Wings.
Why not? Look, Dana White's about to get into the business of boxing. He's about to see a whole bunch of shit. He knows how it goes down, and he's the good guy. He just gave up Conor McGregor. He's like, here you go, guys.
Oh,
Here's
you know he got some money for that. Come on.
It wasn't like he did out of the benefit of his heart. He's like, I feel so good for this one.
You really want to box? Okay, buddy.
Let's do this.
You know what, buddy?
I know we can make a lot of money off of you.
I wasn't saying that. But come on, Conor's not complaining. Tell me Conor's complaining.
I tell you what, we did hear some stuff, by the way, about the Dana White contenders. I'm excited to go.
I'm excited, too.
Dude, I will say this. We'll be there for the first one. There is nothing I don't want to say bet. It's just so crazy watching fights in that tough gym when there's no crowd.
It's cool.
It's weird.
This is
man.
raw.
It's raw.
It's raw. It's the real dog. It's like we're just fighting.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
man.
I'm excited
And
too.
we heard some things that we can't talk about yet. That if they happen,
we could tease that shit.
No, we
right
can't.
there.
Don't say anything because
Don't say it publicly.
Can't
There's
say
like
anything.
big stuff.
But this
big stuff.
If it happens,
you heard it here. Not what it's going to happen, but that something big is going to happen. You heard it here first.
The cold copy.
When it happens, you're going to be like, that's what the
first.
fuck they were talking
Breaking
about.
news.
Breaking news.
When you hear the actual headline, know that we had it first. All right, well, listen.
I wonder, now it'd be fun to speculate what is the new twist. You always think about these guys, they have these ideas, what is gonna be, how are they going to redefine MMA next year, as what Dana was saying. He's like, we're going to redefine it. We're going to take it somewhere it hasn't been. What can that mean? Is it trying to find
Mars?
Bring in civilian? Is it what?
Mars.
Doing it in bars?
No, Mars.
Oh, Mars.
MMA in outer space, bro.
They've teamed up with SpaceX or whatever, and they're going to do it on a But it's just interesting. It's interesting because you never know. These guys have pulled out some great things. I mean, they've probably threw some things out that haven't been great, but
and
to hear that sort of talk, it makes you wonder. So I'd be interested to see what people speculate. What are the big things that they're going to do next year? What do you think?
Maybe people can hit us up. Hit us up. I'd like
hit
to
us
hear
up
that.
after you put that 5-star review.
5-star review.
If it's a 4-star review, you can only submit half of what you were going to say. If it's a 5-star review, feel free to fully elaborate your thought process.
Some positive comments will be good.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing, Angelo, what?
No, I was just going to say that.
It better be good.
I was just going to say that Dana White's a
three-time
very smart guy.
world champion and
No.
on.
I'm very excited about his contender series. I actually
should be pretty cool.
I believe that it's going to be very competitive.
I do too.
Every single fight, I think there's going to be very competitive. And I think I know that on the first one they talked about how it's all men right now. I think that's the July 11th one. Don't be surprised if we start to see women in the contender series.
3-time world champion.
No. I'm not saying that at all. No. But I'm just saying in contender series because remember, he has to get talent for 145.
Yeah, that's true.
He has to get talent for 125. And come on, guys. I'm sure some of the people that are at 115 and 135 are going to kind of move around.
Yep.
So he has to get more talent for 115 and 135. So all I was saying is in the first poster, it's all men. I'm saying don't be surprised if in the next 4 you see maybe an all-women one.
Yep.
And that would be big. I don't think the UFC's ever done an all-women card.
And they could do it because this is not technically a UFC
exactly.
event. It's good.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good. I like it.
I said it here first at MMA Roadshow episode 1.
Happening here. All right, well, listen, guys, we apologize if we have kept anybody too long this evening. We normally don't like to go this long, but it was kind of a special show. It was kind
fun.
of, we have been working on this one for a while, and it was nice to get it done. And hopefully we'll have more of these in the future. Would like to do, about once a quarter with Dana if possible. Kind of talk about the fights that are coming up about 3 months out. So hopefully they will grant us that in the future. We had a good time doing it the first time. So in the meantime, we've got frosty beverages to consume. Angelo might need to call an Uber over there after his 1.5 ciders, man. He's on edge.
I'm snapping my fingers, guys.
Cold coffee. I know
now
you got work
to
do.
It finally. Now you get to it 30 mintes later.
We'll have the Dana thing on YouTube as well, so if you want to watch the full video, you can want to watch that as well.
It's going to take forever.
He's always so happy. So fun. So fun working with cold coffee.
He is.
Always a good time on the road.
You got to get you on the show because you're fun.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Big things happen. All right, guys. Sorry for going so long. Thanks for listening.